Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Elkhart Lake for Road America and the final round of the 131 Web Radio Thursday Night Thunder Championship. With only 16 points between Martin and Danson, we could be in for a great battle tonight. Joining me here in the booth tonight, we have Dave Douglas on the cams, and my Cup cohort and Thunder driver, actually, Mr. Ryan Jones. How's it going, Ryan?
Yeah, not bad, Carl, not bad. Not a Thunder Series driver today, unfortunately. Your normal commentators, Edward Foster and Danny G, both unable to commentate tonight, so I've been coerced into the combox with Carl.
Yeah, so the two Cup boys are on Thunder tonight. It brings back memories for me, calling Thunder last year, of course. But we're in for a pretty decent race today here. Now, we're in qualifying at the moment, and it is an open qualifying format, so all the cars are on track. So a very different format to what we're used to seeing of only a single car at a time. This could mean some real trouble for people, as you've got to slightly fall behind them, you have to be careful of traffic and things like that.
Handle this. Some of the normal guys, some of the road guys that have jumped in for this race, such as Matt Morris, I've just seen Andrew Mogridge is just connected to the server. He's a road racer as well. Wayne Taylor. There's a few other guys in here that are pure road racers. They will be able to handle this sort of thing quite easily because they'll be used to these open qualifying sessions. But the guys like Matt Danson, Jason Martin, your normal regulars who don't do too much road racing, it might just put them off a little bit seeing some other cars on their qualifying laps.
Yeah, it can really throw you off when you're driving in open qualifying, just because you see that car in front of you and you just have to ease off a little bit. You have to make a bit more gap. Sometimes, of course, you have to make a bit bigger of a gap, and that means you slow down more, you lose tyre pressure, tyre temperature, brake temperature, things like that. And those are all important for a track like this. But before we carry on, Ryan, I'll just let you call out the championship standings for tonight's race.
Yeah, well, as Carl, as you've mentioned earlier, Carl, it's going to be interesting to see who's going to win this championship. 16 points between Jason Martin and Matt Danson. Then there is absolute daylight back to Michael Skerlock, who's 59 points drift of Danson. He's in third. So he won't be touched tonight in third. Third is his. Then the battle for fourth place should be quite interesting. Myself in fourth there. I'm going to get overtaken there by Stephen Williams and Matty Raymond, who are fifth and sixth. About 25 points between myself and Raymond. Then it's Matty Clue in 7th, Mirko Dortnack in 8th, Raymond Yeager in 9th. They're all very, very close together, just 2 points separating Dortnack and Yeager. And then Norman Clark rounds out the top 10 with 32 points drift of that battle.
Yes, we're going to be in for some interesting racing here. That race for fourth place is going to be a big one. With yourself out of the car tonight, that's going to mean that some people are going to be able to climb up a little bit higher than they were expecting. Of course, Skerlock has locked down that third place in the championship, but first is still up for grabs. If Jason Martin does not finish in the top 10 and Matt Danson wins this race, he could be out of his championship win. So Matt Danson has to make a win for this race, and he really has to go for those extra bonus points as well, and hoping that Jason Martin doesn't perform too well here tonight.
Yeah, and that just spices it up a little bit extra because Jason Martin road courses are not a fantastic mix. We saw him struggle quite a bit in Sonoma last time out last week, so it should be interesting to see whether he can overcome that today and secure enough points to get the win. And to the contrary, Matt Danson is quite good on these road courses, so we'll see what happens tonight.
Yes, well, that's the thing with Jason Martin. He is trying to actually improve his road courses, and he's not doing too bad overall. He is doing slightly better than he sort of expected sometimes. But he's not a road course specialist. People like Matt Danson are very, very good on road courses, and it's going to be very hard to beat him here. But Jason Martin doesn't need to beat him, he just needs to finish well in the points. That's all he should be looking at today for the championship.
Yep, it's all about the championship today, and be very interesting. There's been a few times gone down in qualifying already. Michael Skerlock with 2 minute 10.9 puts him quite comfortably out front at the moment, but we'll expect that top time, that pole time, to come down probably by about another second almost, maybe, if someone can really piece that together. Fastest lap in practice was a 2 minute 10 flat from Danson, so we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, we've not seen the ultimate pace yet. It's a relatively warm track out there tonight as well. We've got 27 degrees in the air, but the track's 46 Celsius at the moment, so quite warm down there. There is a bit of a strong wind as well blowing south at the moment too. at 29 kilometres. So that's going to slightly put people off. It's going to throw them out a little bit. They're going to get a little bit of a headwind going up into turn 3, and a little bit of tailwind going down from turn 12 to turn 14. But also a lot of crosswinds as well, and that could really cause some problems for some drivers.
Yeah, just understand on the car, there's a lot of opportunities to make a mistake on this track. It's 2 minutes and 10 seconds long, as I mentioned, so plenty of opportunities for error, and certainly a difficult one to get right. Well, let's see if anyone's on a lap at the moment. I think Matt Danson might be, as he's coming down the back straight here.
Yeah, so
He's got
Matt
a car in
Danson.
front of him. Yeah, that's Matt Morris, who's just getting a bit loose and so. It's two of the fastest guys in practice. Lightest third on the track at the moment.
And this is where you can really be thrown out on these open qualifiers. It's just having that car in front of you when it does get loose. And Danson just gets a bit loose going into the corner there. He's just locked up slightly going into the final sort of turns of turn 13 and 14. But Matt Morris as well was not looking too sharp through there too. So we'll see how these guys are going as they cross the line. And Matt Morris takes the lead of qualifying. And Matt Danson...
It's not set a time.
He may have been on an outlap possibly, or
May have been on an outlap, yeah.
Yeah, so Matt Morris there with a fantastic qualifying time of 2 minutes 10.5. So a very good time. He's the fastest of all at the moment for sure. But it's going to be interesting to see what Matt Danson does behind him.
Yeah, we'll go on board with Matt Danson here. We'll talk you through a lap of this track. As we can see, he's heading down that back straight now. He's going to get down towards turn number 5, which is a downhill braking zone. It's quite tricky to get the car pulled up. Going to brake as late as you dare. Make sure it's slide as Matt Morris is doing in front of him. Turn it in nicely and you can power through the corner. Don't run it too wide. That grass comes up on you pretty quickly. Then uphill for turn number 6 is a bit of a tricky one. You can't quite see the apex till quite late, so you've got to get to the first part of the turning point there. Turn 7's reasonably fast in some other cars, but in the Xfinity car, you've just got to take a bit of caution on the throttle. It's quite tricky, that one. And turn 8, another downhill braking zone, tricky again. Try not to get into the gravel. It's very easy to do. Once you get into the gravel, it really sucks you out and it gets you further and further away from the track. You can lose a lot of time through there in the race. Then the big, long, sweeping turn 9 and 10 carousel. We'll see Matt Morris try to go out of the way, which he does a very good job of. Danson struggles on the power to get out of there. It's very tough to get the power down in these cars. There's a lot of torque and a lot of power. And then through turn 11, the kink. It's very fastest corner on the track, in fact. And then turn 12, get the car turned to the left very early so you can hit the brakes. And down through into turn number 12. Don't run it out wide. Matt Danson does a fantastic job of that corner there. He's nailed that one. And then through turn 13, complex. Building up the momentum, trying to keep it as straight as possible. Other than swing it back out to the left to open up your turn 14 arc so you can get a good run down this main straight, because if you don't, it's going to hurt your qualifying time drastically, and Danson's got a good run there. And he'll head up the hill on the main straight. He's going to keep the car in the middle of the track, and what time's he going to do? It's going to be a 2 minute 10.6, just behind Matt Morris, and I think that might mean Matt Morris has got pole position. We'll just see. There's 3 minutes left in this session, which may catch a few drivers out. They are allowed to complete their laps after the checkered flag in an open qualifying session. That certainly caught Danson out because he's pulled over. But Matt Morris is going again for another lap, I think.
Yes, Matt Morris might be going for one more on this one. Of course, you're restricted to 2 qualifying laps in these series. But with an open qualifying, of course, you can go as long as you want. And 3 people are going still. We've got Mirko Dortnak out there. And I think it's we've got Norman Clark as well, but that's about it really. There's not too many drivers out there. Damon Stockton as well, but a lot of the big drivers are sort of already pulled in. Matt Morris, I think, is just wanting to try and show a bit of dominance here, see what time he can set. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out. But the lap's looking a little bit scruffy. He's had a few little corners where the car's just got a bit loose. Of course, when you say scruffy with these cars, it is so easy to do. These cars are so hard to control. You've got a car that weighs over 1,500 kilograms and has almost 700 horsepower. It's very hard to get these cars turned through. They're not really designed for these road courses, so it can throw you off quite a lot.
Yeah, it certainly can. Just trying to have a look if any other drivers are still on track. Andrew Mogridge for Racing Oz is still on the track at the moment. We'll see what time he can do. He's got a fair bit of road course experience, although I'm not sure if he's on a lap or just trying to get some practice in when he's on an out lap. We'll see if he crosses the line though in a second.
Yes, Matt Morris is actually pulled off the track as well. So
And Morgridge crosses down with the 14.3. Bad lap, puts him up into 11th place at the start of this race.
yeah, a lot of drivers didn't qualify there. We had quite a few drivers that just did not put it in. And Mirko Dortnack set a reasonably good lap time of 2 minute 12 and put them up into 5th place.
Yeah, that's a good lap from Mirko Dortnack and puts him in the illusion train of Chris Burnell, Marco Skolak, and Mirko Dortnack, who are 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yes, so let's just run through the qualifying order. So up in 1st place, we've got Matt Morris with a 2 minute 10.5, absolutely blinding lap. Matt Morris. Matt Danson is not too far off behind him with a 2 minute 10.6. Chris Purnell in 3rd place with Michael Skurlock in 4th. Mirko Dortnack 5th with Jason Martin in 6th place. 7th, we have Matty Clerk with James Robbie behind him in 8th place. 9th is Wayne Taylor with Damon Stockton in 10th. Stephen Williams makes it into 11th with Andrew Morgridge, as I say, in 12th place. Norman Clark up into 13th place with Tristan Yelland in 14th place, and Tristan Koch in 15th. And then behind them, we've got the non-qualifiers, starting with Riley Curtis, Matt Stratford, Mark Johnson, Matt Hunter, Matthew Raymond, James Allen, Michael Latterer, and Brian Richmond. So we'll see who jumps on the track. We could be in for an interesting race here with the pace that Matt Morris has shown. He's looking quite good for some speed.
Yeah, Matt Morris is a very good road racer. I've raced him a few times myself. Certainly a good driver. We'll see what he can do. I'm excited to see how this battle's going to unfold. Of course, in Sonoma we saw domination from Ashton Crowder, but it looks like the field's a lot closer today, only half a second covering those top 5 cars. So hoping for a really good battle.
Yes, and of course this track is such a long track as well. Well, it's not hugely long actually. It's only a 1.3 kilometer track, but because of the turns, because of the twisty nature of it, it takes a long time to get around here, especially in one of these X-Infinity cars. Not the easiest of cars to get around a track like this. And the off-camber corners, the corners that come on a crest of a hill, can really throw these cars out, as Ryan was telling you just through the lap he talked through. And it's so easy to make a mistake here. So a lot of people are going to have to be focusing very hard not to go off on this, because you could make up some good positions for the championship right now.
Yep, final round, last chance to make any inroads on the championship. And that's what's going to be on everyone's mind at the moment, is to see the drivers forming up on that grid. Of course, they've got a very long formation lap to get through here. Getting about 3 minutes for them to just sort of sit back, relax, try and calm those nerves a little bit, and just focus on getting the start right.
Yes, and again, the start here is going to be a rolling start. Of course, in NASCAR, we have the rolling starts, unlike your usual road courses where you generally have more sort of standing starts, but generally in sort of closed cars, touring cars, stock, and it's more of a rolling start situation, which can be very good when you're the leader, but it can throw people off. As we saw, I think it was with the Cup Series at Sonoma last week, we had the driver in 2nd place just off the pace a little bit at the start, and it did cause a fair few cars to back up and have a little bit of trouble. But we are off. Away we go. Matt Morris leads the field behind him. So we're in for a bit of a long one here, but it could be a very interesting race.
Yeah, it certainly could be, and with the start of this race, the good news for these drivers is most of them are going to be out of that final corner by the time the leader goes. Of course, you've got about maybe 100, 150 metres till that pit entry, and the pace car is going to peel off, and that's plenty of time for the drivers to get themselves sorted out and get themselves ready. Shouldn't see any of those issues like we saw in Sonoma, where of course the leader went straight off that last corner.
Yes, and it's one of the things with this line. It's just a bit longer, it's a bit bigger. Sonoma is a very enclosed circuit. It's got almost a road, a sort of street circuit feeling, very enclosed, very bright barriers, especially at the start-finish line. Here, of course, you've got a lot more open areas, but there's a lot more grass to go through, which is a really bad thing sometimes, because if you put a wheel on that grass, you're usually going to go around.
Yeah, there's a few areas in the circuit where you've got plenty of runoff and you can afford to make a mistake, but there are a number of areas where you can't, and you make any contact down this back straight, you're going to be in a whole lot of pain because those barriers are going to come up real fast. And there's also that kink as well. That kink is a very fast corner, very easy to make a mistake. If you drop a couple tyres off the exit of that corner, it's going to spin you to the right between the fence.
And it's very easy to do when you're sort of halfway through this race, a bit longer into the race, to just have that little lapse of concentration. The other thing about this track is the braking into turn 5 here. It is very hard because you're on that downhill slope. It's very easy to go off, and there is a good long runoff area here, but you do lose a lot of time as you go through it. The other caution bit is up on this corner, up onto turn 6. This section here is a little bit tricky because as you're going underneath this bridge, there's a little bit of a bump. If you're slightly offline, you'll hit it, and the car will want to go around. The back end will want to overtake the front, and you will have problems. So as we get through the coming down towards the carousel area now, this section can be a little bit tricky for the drivers as well because it's a long long right-hander, and you've got to be careful putting the power on too early, because if you do go on too early, this tight section at the back, it's a tightening corner, is going to catch you out, and you're going to run wide onto that grass.
Yeah, it's very tough to go on right. It really hurts that front left tyre too, so I expect the front left's going to be probably the tyre to watch out for these drivers, to make sure I don't wear them out too much, because obviously that right hand is going to really kill it on the outside. And yeah, as you mentioned, it's pretty hard to sort of judge when to get the throttle down and when to start trying to accelerate out of that corner, as it is so long, and if you get it right, you're going to end off in the grass, and don't want to get any dirt on your tyres around here.
No, that's another thing as well, is with this racing, if dirt on the tyres causes a lot of problem, it's something that you go, well, surely it won't cause that much issue. I drive off on dirt with my road car constantly. I don't have any problems. The big difference here, of course, is you using slick tyres, and they're nice and sticky. The trouble with that, as soon as you get dirt, gravel, dust, grass, anything like that in the tyre, it sticks into it, and it causes you a lot less traction, and it can really throw you off as you're driving. Sometimes you don't even notice you've caught some on the rear of your tyre, and all of a sudden the rear end will decide it wants to go around on you, and it can be quite perilous.
Yep, and it looks like the pace car's going to peel off down into pit road. Field on the hands of Matt Morris. As we wait for the green, he might wait for the green flag to wave here. He's not going to go early. He's just going to wait, back them up as much as he can. The green flag waves, and we're racing in Road America, and it's Matt Danton that gets a jump over Matt Morris, and Chris Purnell's going to leave Michael Skurlock for dead there as well. So it looks like Matt Danton might be able to cover off Matt Morris if he can clear him into turn number 1. Matt Morris going to stick his nose back up there, brake deep, and get back up the inside, and there's almost contact. They do a good job to avoid it. As they come down through turn 1, they're still side by side on the run down to turn number 2. Matt Morris still trying to hang on in there as Danson trying to make it work on the outside. There's a little bit of contact there, and now Matt Morris is going to just get the run off that corner better than Matt Danson, but Danson's going to be able to hold on, I think, and now he'll have the inside for turn 3 as they swirl around there. That giraffe affecting these cars down the back straight and down to that tricky downhill braking zone. Danson and Morris both battling to get it stopped, and Danson gets it stopped better than Morris.
Jason Martin runs wide into the corner going down that downhill section. He had to bail out into the grass as he was going left through the corner. Luckily he didn't collect anyone. That could have been a huge crash there. He almost collected some of the Illusion cars, but he was obviously running a bit right on the brakes, braked a little bit late going downhill, and almost had the monster of all crashes.
That would have been an absolute disaster for Jason Martin in this championship, with his rival Matt Danson leading this race from Matt Morris, Purnell and Skurlock, and it's Damon Stockton now into 5th place. He's gone up 5 spots in the first half of this lap. What a start for Stockton.
Absolute blinder of a start for Stockton. He has got some serious pace there. What a brilliant drive. What fantastic driving as well by Matt Morris and Matt Danson there, going side by side through the corners. Not something you want to do generally on this track.
No, it certainly isn't, but thankfully both those drivers know how to handle themselves on the road course, so they handled it quite well. As we see, Matt Morris is closing back up to the back of Matt Danson now, giving them almost a bit of a push through turn 12.
Yeah, so I just dropped back a little bit just to see how Damon Stockton managed that start, and basically he just caught everybody sleeping at the green. Everybody, of course, was a little bit backed up. He must have just had a little bit more run than everybody else, and just drove straight down the middle of all the drivers. What a fantastic start for Damon Stockton.
Yeah, that's what road course experience will get you. He obviously knew that Matt Morris was waiting for that green flag to drop, and he He tried to preempt that start. He managed to do it perfectly and got the jump. And yeah, he's up in the 5th place. He set himself up well for this race.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful driving by everybody as well, because it was one of those moves that looked a little bit dodgy, and it sort of, if anyone wasn't sort of wanting to play game, if anybody wanted to be a little bit sort of careless, they could have really caused a big accident. I've just gone back as well just to check out what happened with Jason Martin. He just ran deep, ran across the grass, and then one of the illusion cars actually went into the back of him. So there is some damage to Jason Martin's car, not something he'll want to have on this race.
Yeah, I think it was Mirko Dornak. Dornak's done a bit of damage to his front end, so that's probably him that ran into the back of Mark there. As we just see a move as Andrew Mogridge is around the outside of Stephen Williams as they head up now through into turn number 4. Mogridge going to be tough to get it done on the outside here. Oh, that's going to be very tight, and he's going to hang on in there. That's a fantastic piece of driving from Mogridge. He should have the inside here, and he should be able to get it done as he will. Williams just going to peel off into behind Mogridge, and now Norman Clark. No, that's Matty Raymond. Sorry, he's going to get to his outside. Going to be tricky to get it done there, and Williams should have him covered, and he does.
Yeah, great driving there by Mogridge. It was really good, and of course, just that slight sides are off there, just catching Stephen Williams a little bit off. You could see the car just losing a little bit of pace as it going through the corner, just drifting a little bit, and that's something you have to take in mind. As Chris Purnell runs a bit wide going up through the sort of kettle bottom, and he's losing a little bit of time to Michael Skerlock.
Yeah, that's that kick that I was talking about earlier. Very easy to drop the tyres off, and can be very easy once you do that to spear off into the right-hand wall. Thankfully for Chris Purnell,
Sorry, speaking of that, Damon Stockton has just done that indeed. He's just locked off the tyres, gone straight off into the gravel. He's managed to catch the car back up, but he has lost quite a few positions due to that incident. He's down to 10th now.
Yeah, unfortunately he's just undone all that fantastic work he managed to complete on the opening half a lap, so he's going to have to work hard from here, and there's a bit of a train now forming behind Matthew Clute. They're all stacking up, trying to look for a way to get past the car in front.
Yes, and just behind Matthew Clute we've got Mirko Dornak, and that car is looking a little bit second-hand on the front end. Quite a bit of mangled front end on that car, so it's not going to be handling quite as well as it did at the start. Hopefully it's just all cosmetic damage for him, because when you've got sort of damage in that area, it can start affecting things like the radiator.
Yeah, certainly can, but thankfully on a road course, having a bit of damage isn't quite the disaster it is on a high-speed oval. You can sort of get away with it. It might hurt him though down the front straight and down this back straight here, but other than that he should be good to go.
Yes, it's not as bad as on some of the ovals of course, but still have quite a bit of aero information, sort of aero use going on through some of these corners, especially the high speed turns, and that could be a little bit where it can affect the front end a little bit. Hopefully though we won't see too much damage, because the illusion cars are looking fantastic tonight with Chris Purnell in 3rd place, Michael Skerlock in 4th, Mirko Dornak down in 6th place as well, and just having a little bit of a look, I think should have Stephen Williams somewhere.
Oh, Mirko Dornak, he was very close to getting to the back of Matty Clute there, down to turn number 8. I don't know my corners, bear with me here guys. Turn number 8, now he's going to run wide through the carousel, but he should be all good here. Just got to be very careful when you're tucked in behind another car. Don't outbrake yourself, because if you do, you're going to go straight to the back of them and ruin both your days very fast.
It's so easy to get sucked into the back of the car as well. You concentrate on the car in front of you on some road courses. Driving fast is a very hard thing to...
Williams! Oh, he's done a good job there. He ran wide at the kink as well. He got a bit more sideways than Purnell did, but as well as Purnell, he's been able to hold on to it, and he's going to keep going for now. And back up in front of them, Wayne Taylor. Whoa, very close re-entry with David Stockton. He ran wide at turn number 12 and gathers it back up, and Stockton picks up a spot again.
Yes, David Stockton is slowly climbing. He's back up into 7th now, doing some really good drives there. We've got some good drivers as well. Matty Raymond's one to mention. He's up in 11th at the moment. He's gained 5 places. Riley Curtis in 14th as well, gained 5 places as well. Currently, Damon Stockton is one of the sort of highest sort of place gainers. But out in front, we've still got Matt Danson with Matt Morris chasing him.
Yeah, it looks like that could be quite a good battle today. Matt Morris is not letting Danson get away. The battle of the mats. It should be an interesting one today. We'll see what happens. It's a long race, so I don't think either of these drivers will be pushing to the max just yet.
The lucky thing it is a long race, because we've got so many mats it will take us half the race to talk about all of them.
Yeah, what we got Matt Danson, Matt Morris, Matty Raymond, as Chris Purnell runs wide. There's Matt Stratford. He's not racing, unfortunately, but Matt Hunter's also there too. So, and Matty Clute. Don't forget Matty Clute. There's quite a number of people as Purnell goes wide again. Now Skurlock's going to get very close to the back of him now. See if he can capitalise on two mistakes that Purnell's made in the last couple of corners. He's not going to be quite close enough to make a move unless Purnell makes another mistake, which he almost does. Those rears just hopped on entry, and it's running wide on exit. Purnell's struggling a bit at the moment, isn't he, Carl?
I wonder if he's baked the tyres a little bit. He seems to be really struggling as he's braking, possibly running a little bit hot on the brakes as well, but he's really struggling getting that car to stop, and it's just looking a little bit squiggly as it's going through the corners. Just noticed as he was going through, going down towards turn 8, I think it was, he was just touching the grass almost as he was going into the corner, and that caused the car to get a little bit unsettled. So he's really running into the ragged edge of the limits of this track, and it's not helping him. He's losing time to Michael Skurlock behind him.
Yeah, that's the saving grace of Purnell at the moment, is he's got a teammate in behind him, so he doesn't have to be too worried about a crazy dive bomb coming in from the car behind, so he should be safe for that.
Well, as you say that, we get a bit of a crazy dive by Michael Skurlock going up towards the up towards turn number 14. They're going through turn number 13. They were side by side almost running through there. So I think Skurlock's just telling Purnell just to hurry up a little bit.
Just having a look down the order, trying to see if there's any battles going on at the moment. Most of the field sorted themselves out. There's still a decent battle here for 7th place between Damon Stockton and Wayne Taylor, and James Robbie and Andrew Mogridge aren't too far off the back of that battle either. But at the moment, all the field single file right now, just settling into this long race.
Yes, Matt Danson just made a little mistake as he was going up into turn number 3. Just ran a little bit wide, caught the car on the grass, and it's just letting Matt Morris just get a little bit more speed on him, going down towards turn number 5. Morris, of course, you get that accordion effect of getting nice and close through these very slow corners, but he has gained quite a bit of time on Danson. A bit of a costly mistake for him. When you're going up into turn 3, you really need to make sure you got the car settled, because you can lose a lot of speed going down that straight. The moraine sweep is a long straight down here, and if you get the car off track a little bit going into that straight, it can really cost you on speed.
Oh, Matt Morris, been eager on the throttle there, had a turn number 8. Got a bit sideways, he gathers it up and now gets a bit of the grass through the carousel. You don't want to be doing any of that, that's going to hurt your time a bit. And yeah, last lap, Matt Danson was 2/10 per second faster than Morris. It looks like he might have the pace over him at the moment. He's just got to make sure he keeps the car clean, doesn't run off the track.
That's it, and I think Mirko Dortnak's just made a bit of a mistake, because he's going very slow at the moment. He was just almost standing still, and he has lost a lot of places. I think Mirko Dortnak's gone down, where am I? He's gone down to 10th place, so he's lost 5 spots.
And now he's off the track at the kink. He's going to keep the car straight, no harm there, except the fact he's going to lose slot to Matty Raymond.
Yeah, so a real, not a great lap there for Dortnak. He really is struggling at the moment. And
watching the battle for 8th place at the moment. Damon Stockton, James Ray both giving an absolute boot full of throttle off turn number 12. Sorry guys, off turn number 12, and both got very sideways indeed, and in front of them Wayne Taylor's run a bit wide off that last corner, but thankfully for him no one's close enough to make any advantage from that, and they're all going to run down the main straight. Still single file, no positions changed, but it looks like Robbie might just be in the slipstream of Damon Stockton now, see if he can get close enough to make a lunge in a turn number 1. I would say he's probably just a bit too far back, and yes he is. Stockton drives it really deep into 1, really closed up in the back of Wayne Taylor there. Wow, that was a fantastic piece of braking from Stockton.
Yeah, Stockton is fantastic on the brakes. He's something else to watch. He is just so late on the braking. You could see with James Robbie, he just absolutely faded away in the braking zones. He was just so far behind almost going in there, but he braked much later than Damon Stockton.
Yeah, unfortunately that's going to hurt him though, because he's braked so deep he wasn't able to get the run out of turn number 3, and that's hurt him down this moraine sweep as he jawed the rear end, just trying to step out of them as he gets to the brakes through turn number 4, but thankfully, turn 5, but thankfully for Stockton he's not going to lose any time. And that's it, you got to really find a good balance between braking late and braking early. Sometimes slow in, fast out is the option, and that's the route you want to go for, because when you've got those long straights like the main sweep and the main straight as well, going in really deep means you're going to be compromised on exit. It's going to hurt you all the way down that long straight.
Absolutely, and just back, we just got a good fight between Matty Raymond and Mirko Dortnek, as Matty Raymond just makes a slight mistake going into turn number 5. Sorry, turn number, where am I? I lost my place. Going up to the carousel, sorry. And Mirko Dortnek has just absolutely gone past him. Really good little battle here. Dortnek is really struggling with that car though, and I wonder how much of people's struggling is just down to the temperature, because it is quite warm out there still on the track. We're up to 46 degrees on the track temperature, and of course with these sort of very fast corners, the tyres do tend to get quite warm.
Yeah, I don't think tyre wear itself is going to be too much of an issue today, not as much as we would see on an oval, except for maybe that front left that I touched on earlier as a result of that carousel corner. But yeah, definitely the track temp, 46 degrees, it's a bit too hot for these cars, and it does make the track a bit slippery. And I'm just watching again James Robbie in behind Damon Stockton, and again I think he's probably about half a car length too far back, especially with how good Stockton appears to be on the brakes at the moment.
Yes, he's a little bit too far behind. He could go for that lunge, but it's not really worth it.
There's a mistake from Stockton. He's going to run a bit wide through turn 1. Now this is going to give Robbie opportunity. He needs to get down to the inside for turn number 2, as Stockton drives all the way down to the grass almost, and he's able to outbrake him around the outside, but it's going to hurt him through the corner, and Robbie's going to get the exit. A bit of wheel spin from Damon Stockton means that Robbie's going to clear him down this front straight, but now Stockton's going to tuck into the draft, and we'll see whether he can make up another spot, get the spot back down into the braking zone for turn 4. There's superb late braking. He does stick the nose back up the inside. Robbie trying his best, getting a bit loose, getting a bit wide, getting a bit off the track for James Robbie, and Stockton slips back through and retakes P number 7, sorry.
Very generous there by James Robbie, just giving him that little bit of space, which actually made him run across the curb there, and his car was sort of all the way over the curb, so the curb was in the middle of the car, and that's going to put you onto the dirty part of the track. Not a great place to brake. When you're trying to brake on those curbs as well, they are a bit slippery, so it doesn't help the car slow down. So he really gave Damon Stockton that place back. Great driving there to keep the car on all 4 wheels and keep it actually from spinning. He has just basically given Damon Stockton that place back.
And Matt Morris is leading the race. He's got past Matt Danson, and Danson just jacked up the rears and the turn number... God damn it. Into turn number 12. So you put the oval commentators on a road course, and they cannot handle the corners. There's too many corners for us to remember here.
Yeah, they'll be less making fun of me now.
This race. Yes.
You now know how it feels. So Matt Morris there, a fantastic job. Danson just got a little bit wide. He ran. Oh, and just behind we've got one of the Illusion cars. I think it was Chris Purnell, just lighting it up as he was going through. And he almost looked like he was going into the pit lane. He was so far across the track. So luckily he managed to catch that car and get it back into action. A little bit further back we've got Wayne Taylor, who's just run wide, letting Damon Stockton through. We've got a fantastic battle down in 6th, 7th and 8th. As Damon Stockton goes through with James Roby taking over Wayne Taylor. What a fantastic drive by those two. Wayne Taylor just running a little bit wide to let Damon Stockton and Roby through, and they have taken advantage of that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. I was having a look back at how Matt Morris got by Matt Danson, and I can tell you that it was at turn number 8, and Matt Danson just overcooked the corner, ran a bit wide, checked the car out, didn't go off the track, but ran wide enough that Matt Morris was able to slip up the inside and complete a relatively easy manoeuvre there for the lead of the race.
Yes, we're seeing a lot of those little mistakes creeping in now from a lot of drivers, and you know, we're not used to seeing that many mistakes from people like Dance and things like that, but it's so easy to do on this track. You can't get across how hard it is to drive on this circuit. It's not an easy place to drive. Even though it doesn't look too bad, it is very slippery out there. The corners are very tricky. Oh, and James Roby just absolutely sideways as he's coming through turn number 5, up into turn number 6 now. He was all the wheels were sort of turning, but he was turning in the wrong direction, but he managed to catch it, keep the car in place, and more importantly, keep Wayne Taylor behind him, but he has lost a handful of times to Damon Stockton.
Yeah, he suddenly has. The Stockton's going to run wide through turn 8. Robbie has to check up to avoid getting to the back. I mean, he does a fantastic job not to get into the back of Stockton there. Wayne Taylor's going to poke his nose to the outside of the carousel. That is not going to work no matter what car you're in. And now he's going to have to tuck back in. And he's not going to be able to make another move till they get back down to turn number 12, because if you try to make a move into the kink, you're asking for a crash. So you have to sit back here and just sit back, get the run through the corner, which he tries to do, and he will do, because Stockton's gone off, Robbie's gone off, and now Stockton's going to get passed by 2 people, maybe, as Robbie's going to go around the outside of the 11A of Kettle Bottom, so he's going to dive back up the outside of Robbie. Robbie's going to turn it in. Stockton's not going to make the corner. He's gone in too deep there, and Stockton's going to lose a bunch of spots, and back up in front of them, Wayne Taylor trying to go around the outside of James Robbie. It's not going to work, and Andrew Moggery's going to get up the inside of James Robbie and pick up a spot. Down into turn number 14 they go. Moggery a bit loose in the brakes there, but he takes that spot. And it's all changing, the battle for P number 7.
And Matty Raymond's just gone off. The battle for P number, well, so pretty much from 7th down to around about 11th, there's nothing in it between those guys. And Matthew Raymond was actually looking quite good. He managed to work his way up to 9th place as Damon Stockton has come into the pits.
As has Mirka Dornack in front of him.
Yeah, so we've got our first pit stops. I do wonder if their tyres are just starting to get a little bit rough. But we had a 3-second gap from 6th to 11th. All the cars were just so close there. And of course, once somebody made a mistake in that position, it's just dropped him so far back. But it's really helped out for James Rowley. He's now in 6th place and managed to break away from the rest of the guys. Another person having a great run is Andrew Moggery. What a fantastic drive by him, up into 7th place now. He's gained 5 positions since the start of this race.
Yeah, road course experience for Moggery is a decent driver. Robbie's gone off the track. He's going to lose a spot to Moggery. He's going to lose a spot to Wayne Taylor. And all that good work for James Robbie goes down the drain. Oh, what a shame for James Robbie there. He's going to go back to P number 8 now. And now Moggery up in the 6th place. He's up 6 spots. Fantastic race for him so far.
Yeah, a really good race there. Just looking back, and we've got Matty Raymond having another good race as well. He's driving really well for the Blokes Advice Racing team. And he's sort of just keeping the car in that top 10 position. Again, he's made 6 positions since the start. He's just keeping it in contention, which is what he wants to do. But a guy that we're not talking about, a guy that is basically slipping under our radar in 5th place, is Jason Martin, who is pretty much in the middle of nowhere at the moment. He's not too close to Skurlock, and he's got nobody behind him. Jason Martin sitting 20 seconds behind the leader, but he's in 5th place, and that's all he needs to do. He just needs to finish in the top 10 to get this championship win. And Matt Danson's actually got back in the lead. Matt Danson is in the lead again. He's taken over Matt Morris.
He has, and we missed it again. And it was at the final corner left, Matt Morris. He's overcooked it. He's run wide into the gravel, and he's allowed about a 1.5 second lead to go for the other way now to Matt Danson, who's got about a 1.5 second lead of Matt Morris now. Yeah,
these guys seem to really be struggling at the moment. They're not having fun out there for sure. Guy that I just want to look at as well as Skurlock, he's actually got some damage to the front left of his car. So I think Skurlock may have had a little bit of an excursion across the gravel, because he's lost a heap of time to his teammate Chris Purnell and got a bit of damage as well. He's still sitting up in 4th place, but the 2 Illusion cars that were running sort of 2 abreast for a bit of that race are now sort of falling back from each other.
Yeah, the only place I can really think of that he might have picked up a bit of front left damage and not really lost more than what he has would probably be the kink. So he'd be lucky to get away with it if he hasn't gone off the track there. And Matt Morris, it looks like he's got the pace over Danson today, I'd say. He's closing back up to him again. So it's just going to be a case of who makes the least amount of mistakes, I think. And Danson makes a mistake, runs a bit wide, allows Morris to close up even more. And this should be a good battle here. As long as they don't make a mistake, these guys are going to have to make an overtake for the lead again. And we go through the carousel, Morris closing up onto the back of Danson. Not close enough for a move into turn number 11, nor do you want to make a move into turn number 11. If he can get a run through here, might be able to get a run down this straight, but it looks like he's got a bit of a run on Danson here. He might be close enough from moving to turn number 12 if he's willing to be brave, but he's probably about a half a car length too far back. You can see he does close up on the brakes there on Matt Danson. He gets closer, but not close enough, and Danson going to hold him off for this lap at least.
Yeah, and the guy that's actually catching them behind is Chris Purnell. Last lap, those two were having a bit of a scruffy lap, and Purnell gained about a second on the leaders. He's now only 5 seconds behind. But he is catching on these 2 leaders as they battle each other, just make those small mistakes. Just watching the drivers as well, they look to be struggling a bit for grip now. Again,
Oh no, Mogridge has made a mistake in 6th place. They're going to be 3 wide coming out of turn number 12. Now they're side by side, Wayne Taylor and James Robbie, and James Robbie's going to pick up 2 spots there. Going from P number 8 up to P number 6 as Wayne Taylor's going to pick up 1 spot and go up to P number 7.
A big mistake there from Mogridge, not what he wanted to do. Again, it's just helping those drivers behind just climb up the ranks a little bit. Just as the battle for the front was happening, we had a battle with Matthew Raymond and Mally Cluett. Good little battle there at the back, but that's sort of evened out now. But Morris is sitting close behind Danson now. He's smelling blood, and these two are really battling hard at the moment. What we want to see.
Yeah, it certainly is. Matt Morris appears to be a bit better on the brakes than Matt Danson. Almost 2 got on the brakes there, getting very close to the back of Danson in turn number 3. And what you've got to do on these road courses is you've got to set up the pass. And it looks like Matt Morris is probably just sitting back and analysing where he's faster than Danson and where Danson's probably more vulnerable to an overtake. And at the moment, I say it's on the braking zone for any of these corners that Matt Morris appears to be very strong.
Yeah, Matt Morris just had a heap of oversteer going up through turn 7, I think it was.
James Robbie makes a mistake now. Can Wayne Taylor get to his inside for turn number 4? No, he can't. James Robbie's going to hold on, but he was all sorts of sideways in the turn number 3. I tell you what, these guys battling for P6, P7, and P8 are driving these cars really high at the moment, aren't they?
They are definitely putting on a show for us tonight, which is what we want to see in racing. Hopefully there'll be no 5-second penalties handed out for anybody for, overtaking people and trying to actually make moves. But here we go, we've got Wayne Taylor now getting a good run on James Robbie, and these two are really battling hard, and it's great to see.
Matt Danson's run wide. Matt Morris going to get to his right rear, but he's not quite going to be able to get there. He just keeps the car off the back of Matt Danson, and now might be able to have a lunge at turn 14. Probably not close enough. He gets a bit of the grass on the right-hand side there. And now see if he can set up a run out of turn 14 and down the main straight. Doesn't look like he can. Matt Danson is going to hold that 2-car length advantage that he has over Matt Morris for now.
Yeah, these two are again battling. Again, a nice battle to see. We were kind of worried.
James Robbie's off the track. And now Wayne Taylor's going to pick up P number 6. And Robbie's going to go back to P7 again.
And it did look like, I think it was Andrew Mogridge as well, just went off the track behind James Robbie as well. So those two just following each other off the circuit. And Robbie's run wide again. And it's just going to let Andrew Mogridge get straight through. And James Robbie's going to be kicking himself for that one. A real sloppy move as he was going through the turn. And just running wide onto that gravel and just losing a heap of time.
There's a lot of mistakes out on track at the moment, and this race is really going to be a lot of mental fatigue and just making sure you're putting as much focus in as you can and trying not to make that mistake. It's not about the tyre wear, it's not about the fuel level, it's about that mental strength and being able to really focus for 45 laps.
Sorry, Ryan, just to cut in, James Robbie just makes another mistake, and it's letting Matthew Cluett and Matty Raymond just come right up on him. He just made a big mistake as he was going through turn 13.
Matt Morris is going to put a move on Matt Danson. No, Danson covers. Morris dives to the outside now for turn number 8. He's going to bet a bit sideways. Danson's going to overcut the corner as well. And it's going to be status quo between those two. Danson's going to hold him off, but these two racing very hard for the lead of this race. I think Danson knows that Morris has got the pace over him, and he does not want to let him get past him, because he knows if he does, there's every chance that Morris won't make another mistake, and that he's not going to be able to get the move back to win this race. But at the moment, Danson holds on for now as they go through the kink, and it's going to be a pretty smooth run for both drivers there. No move will be on the cards here for turn number 12.
No, there was a cigarette paper between those two cars as they were going through the corners there. Matt Morris was right behind Danson and really keeping a check on him. Fantastic driving not to crash as well. This is the thing with these drivers, is they're driving inches away from each other and doing incredible speeds as well and not crashing. You're going up to about 190 kilometers per hour through some of these sort of corners and straights, and when you're side by side or so close to each other like that, it's very, very easy to make a mistake and knock your friend off.
Yeah, and especially being such a hot track temperature too, it just makes it that extra difficulty level on top of this race. It's very slippery, and the drivers very easy to make a mistake, get loose, and take out that car next year. So far, these top two drivers doing a fantastic job of not crashing into each other.
And this is what we love in this sport, is just people getting close and really racing hard, and these two are definitely doing that. We've got some great racing through the field. It's evened out a little bit, But we've got a fantastic battle forming up just behind James Roby in the 8th, with 9th, 10th and 11th all relatively close behind each other. And those guys are really racing hard at the moment. We've got people like Matty Clurt, who wants to do well, and he's really sort of trying to prove himself at the moment. People like Matty Raymond, he's a little bit newer to some of the races. He's been in the series for a while, but he's now into Blokes Advice Racing. He's got himself into a team. He's sort of building up that experience and building up momentum as well. And he's doing a fantastic job, as I believe he is the lead car in that team, with Riley Curtis down in 13th place at the moment. Matty Raymond is having a fantastic drive. And at the front, Matt Danson. Oh, Matt Morris has just lost a bit of the car there as he's going through turn number 5. The car was running wide, heaps of through turn number 7 even. Heaps of oversteer there, and he did a great job of catching it. He is really struggling keeping that car straight, but he's still got the speed. And Matt Danson has to be careful on every corner, because it seems like Morris is just a little bit slower through the mid of the corner, but Danson's just got a little bit of extra speed on the exit.
Yeah, I just sat back and I just watched the turn 4 apex. And I just watched Wayne Taylor, Andrew Morgan, Shane Joy, Matty Clute, Matty Roman, Stephen Williams, all of them missed the apex and skate wide. So the track at the moment is really difficult to drive.
Yeah, it's so hard. And people, again, this is one of the things as well in motorsport, is it's almost like having a slightly damp circuit. Your cars just don't grip. They lose the tire temp. They lose their sort of their ability to stick. And they both pit. Matt Danson and Matt Morris are in the pit right now.
Pitting on lap number 13 of a 45-lap race. Maybe this will be a 2-stop race today. We'll find out later. I don't know what the fuel distance is on these tanks of this track, but certainly pitting on lap 13 would suggest that it's going to be a 2-stopper strategy for this one.
Yeah, I don't think people can really cope on the tyres too long here. It's going to be a race on tyres rather than fuel, I think, especially with this pit stop so early in the race.
We'll see if they can both make their pit bay. Matt Danson doesn't. Danson has to reverse up, and Danson's lost a chunk of time, and this is going to let Matt Morris get to the lead of the race for sure.
Matt Danson absolutely Jason Martin that pit stop. He had a terrible stop there. But Matt Morris is just going to be smiling as he looks in his mirrors, sees that mistake by Danson. Not as much time as you'd expect lost. I do wonder if Matt Danson had to sort of maybe short fill the car, or maybe just not change a tyre or something, because he's not lost as much time as expected. But he has definitely lost a bit of time. You can see the gap between those cars.
Yep, and the guys that didn't pit now are Chris Pennell, Michael Skurlow up there at Illusion Motorsports 1-2 at the moment. Jason Martin's up in the 3rd place. We'll see if any of these drivers react to the pit stops of the top 2 guys and see if they try to cover them off here, so I don't get too much of an undercut.
Well, that's it. The only person that really can get close is Purnell at the moment. He's the only guy that was really sticking with that group, as Purnell just makes a slight mistake as he's going through. So we'll just we'll look on the brakes of Purnell. So we're actually on board with Purnell, looking at his front left tyre right now. And right now you can see the brakes in action. They're going to start glowing as he comes down through the kettle bottom towards Canada corner.
And he's off wide. The gravel.
So we're going to see some gravel through the tyres now. And that's the thing, is the brakes are just not wanting to stop. Once they get to that glowing stage, they're really struggling. And you've got to be careful not to lock a brake. And they just stop working as well. If you've ever driven a road car with really hot brakes, especially if it's a drum brake, you know how hard it is to stop. You get a similar feeling here with these disc brakes. They just overheat and just don't want to stop anymore. You can also see the amount of pressure on the tyres as well. As you're going through these corners, there is so much pressure going on with the suspension geometry and the tyres. You really have to take care. Fantastic job by Dave Douglas, thank you for the camera. Really good look on the front tyre of these cars as we go through the corners.
I'm just watching our 2 leaders. Once the pit cycle completes, there'll be our 2 leaders. Matt Morris got past Stephen Williams, didn't lose too much time. It looks like Matt Danson's going to be able to do it as well, sweeping around the outside turn 4. Doing a great move there from Danson. And now in front of these 2 is Matty Raymond and Matthew Cloet. And Jason Martin split off into the pit lane while we're talking about that. But it'll be interesting whether these laps cars whether these cars that haven't pitted yet have any effect on this battle for the lead. If Morris catches them in an awkward spot, it could allow Danson to close right back up to a 0 bumper.
And speaking of making a pig's ear of a pit stop, Jason Martin has come into the pits, and he has absolutely made a pig's ear of his pit stop. So he's completely Jason Martined his stop, and terrible stop from him. He's still trying to fiddle the car into the position. He's lost he's losing time still. He just can't seem to get the car into the right position to pit. Maybe something going wrong with the system or something, but he's had to, until now, he's only just got the car up on the jacks. So he has lost a heap of time there. He's probably going to lose time on everybody behind him as well. Absolutely awful pit stop for Jason Martin there. He's going to be fuming.
And to quote Mark Scaife, this is going to be huge for the championship for Jason Martin.
That is it. But the thing is, Matt Danson has to make up 16 points over Jason Martin, and that's a tricky thing to do in this championship because finishing positions, you get points all the way down. As I said, if Jason Martin finishes in the top 10 tonight, he's going to win that championship. But that's if Matt Danson manages to win the race. He's got to win the race to get that working. At the moment, Matt Danson isn't in that position. He's just fighting with Matty Raymond.
Matt Morris, he's going to squeeze up the inside of Matty Kloot coming off the carousel, and he won't lose too much time now. They've already made short work of Matty Raymond as Danson tries to sneak up the inside of the king, but he's not going to be able to do it. That's going to cost him probably about half a second, maybe a quarter of a second. But he's going to get around the outside of 11A, and he's going to get by Matty Kloot. But the gap now between Morris and Matt Danson is probably about a second now.
Yeah, just under a second now. And Matty Kloot just makes a big mistake. Just gets a handful of oversteer as he's going through the corner in Canada Corner. And
both Illusion boys are in the lane.
Real big mistake. So yeah, we've got the Illusion cars coming into the pit stops. Let's see how they go.
As is Wayne Taylor.
As everybody's pitting. So it's going to be interesting now to see where Jason Martin feeds into all these cars, because these are the cars that were he was fighting with earlier on. And with that pit stop, he's lost a heap of time. But as we talk, Matt Morris has just got back into the lead of this race with Matt Danson behind him. Matthew Kloot has stayed out on track. Currently, Matthew Kloot, I think, is the only guy that stayed out on track in that sort of top group. Stephen Williams is behind him. So, yeah, we've got a little bit of a battle forming up now.
Yeah, of course, we've got that battle for 4th, 5th, 6th in the championship between Matty Kloot and Stephen Williams at the moment. I don't think Kloot's done enough to jump ahead of Williams, but they've both done enough to jump ahead of me. So, bye-bye, yes. 4th place.
Your 4th place in the championship is not looking so good at the moment. Unless we get some form of divine intervention, I don't think you're going to keep it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, there's 20 cars in this race, which means the least amount of points that these guys can pick up is 20 points, which means no matter what they do, they're going to pick up 4th place in the championship. But it's all about whether Kloot can overtake Williams for 5th.
Yeah, so that's it. That's going to be the big battle now. We've got a little bit of a battle with Matty Raymond and figure out who the car is in front of him, with Matty Raymond and Jason Martin. So Jason Martin has fed out just in front of Matty Raymond. And Matty Raymond, has he made a pit stop yet? Yes, he has made a pit stop. But yeah, Matthew Raymond is just behind Jason Martin now, which means that Jason Martin has lost a heap of positions. He's down in 12th place now. That was a terrible pit stop. It cost him probably around about 30 seconds, I think, in all. Oh, and Matt Danson's got quite a bit of damage to his front left. Just going to look through here. Matt Danson seems to have made a mistake on this lap.
He got into the wall of the king. And that's a big error for Matt Danson.
That's going to cost him dearly, and it just depends how much damage is caused to that front left tyre as well. If he's caused any suspension damage, that car's going to be a bit of a pig to drive. So he's really going to have trouble now, and he's really going to have trouble catching up to Matt Morris. He's lost for about 3 seconds now. He was straight on the back of Matt Morris. He's now 3.5 seconds behind him. Chris Purnell has fed out in 3rd position, so things have sort of kept the status quo for Chris Purnell. He has lost a bit of time though. He did stay out that bit longer. He stayed out about 2 laps longer than the rest of the guys. And that has cost him quite dearly, actually. He was around about 5 seconds behind that lead battle. But now he is 15 seconds behind. So he has lost a heap of time staying out on those tyres. So the undercut is fully in effect for this race. If you want to make positions, do that undercut. Of course, that's going to affect you later in the stint, but as we've seen, overtaking here is not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I've just attempted to do some championship calculations, and if Jason Martin was to lose 2 more positions, I think, and Matt Dennison was to win, I think they'd be level on points.
I believe so, yeah. They will be level on points now, but of course, Matt Danson has got bonus point for leading a lap, I think.
Yep.
So it will just work out with those bonus points. It will just shake up that a little bit. Of course, if they are level on points, Jason Martin is going to win the championship still. If he's level on points with Matt Danson, he's going to win the championship because he has 5 wins over Danson's 2.
And Jason Martin's just catching up now to the back of Andrew Mogridge and Damon Stockton. You can throw a blanket over these 3 cars. They're all pretty close together now. And just in front of them, not too far in front, is Wayne Taylor and James Robbie. So there's a few cars here, not too far away from each other. Mogridge almost gets into the back of Damon Stockton, and Martin just sits back a little bit. And Mogridge does get into the back of Damon Stockton, runs a bit wide of the carousel. Martin's going to maybe try and set up a move on the exit here. Not going to be able to do it. Mogridge covers off that inside, and they're all going to go through the kink, covered by about less than a second. Hopefully none of them makes a mistake. Let's see, Mogridge backs off, tries to get a run on Stockton. He will get a run on Stockton. He drops 2 tyres off the exit of the kink, and now Mogridge is going to get down around the outside at turn 11A, and he should be able to complete the move, and he does. So he'll take P number 11 away. No, he won't. Stockton does back up the inside. Fantastic move there from Stockton, but now Mogridge does the crossover, gets the position back away from the number 3 car. Now Jason Martin's looking to make a position on Stockton, and behind them is Matty Raymond as Martin just squeezes around the outside of Stockton through turn number 13, and Stockton's going to get back up the inside at turn 14. He's going to run wide on the exit. Can Martin get the crossover? No! Stockton checked it up on the apex and knew Martin was going to try that crossover move, and Martin's ended up drilling the back of Stockton. And a good bit of driving there, a bit of attacking and defensive driving from Stockton to keep that position from Martin.
Yeah, beautiful driving there, and Jason Martin just, it wasn't a huge impact there, it was just a little kiss between the cars by the looks of it, but really good driving from Stockton there. He was driving extremely aggressively, very defensively as well, but he's very good on those brakes, very late on them. However, that cost him as he was going through the I think he was going through Canada's corner when he lost that position. He just looked that little bit later, and it really cost him that position because he didn't have that exit speed. Same thing's happened now. He's no longer got that exit speed as we go down the running sweep. And we've got Matty Raymond right on the back of Jason Martin here. Jason Martin's going to have to be sweating here because he does not want to get taken out of this race.
Oh, Stockton a bit loose on the brakes. Martin gets a bit of a slide going through turn number 4, but thankfully Stockton makes a mistake. And Martin's going to clear them as now Matty Raymond looks to go up the inside. Now this is turn number 4, sorry. And he's going to just complete the move on Damon Stockton through turn number 4, and he'll get comfortably ahead of him through turn number 5.
That was turn number 6 and turn number 7, sorry. Yes. Yeah, so we're just coming down to turn number 8 now, and we're just going to come up to the carousel. So great driving there by Matty Raymond, and he's just really doing well tonight. Matty Raymond is an absolute star tonight. He's not driving, but he's definitely not the fastest guy on the track, but he is driving well. He's just keeping the car just nice and safe, nice and still. He's taking a few risks on people, but he's not sort of taking a mad bomb up the inside of anyone. James Robbie just gets a little bit wide with Wayne Taylor behind him. Those two are having a good fight as well. Just as we were talking though, with that battle between Martin, Raymond, Stockton, Mogridge, there was less than 0.6 of a second between those cars for about half of that lap.
Say it with me, Carl. Mortgage. That's what. Sorry, Mogridge. Even I've done it. Andrew Mogridge. It's a tough last name. It's Andrew Mogridge. He'll go off at you if he hears you calling him Andrew Mortgage.
Oh, it's one of those names when you're calling through quickly, you just kind of glance, you just miss it. So yeah, Andrew Mogridge, just really good driving as well. He's having a great race too, up in 9th place. Damon Stockton as well, really good defensive driving. He has come into the pit lane though. Again, I think he's one of the earliest pit stops last time. He's coming back into the pit lane now on tyres that are only 10 laps old, so he's only done 10 laps with that stint.
Not convinced this is the right call from Damon Stockton here, unless he's got a bit of damage that he wants to repair. I think if he's maybe going for a 3-stop strategy, it's probably not the fastest option around this track.
No, we have seen the power of the undercut on these tyres, though, so it could work out. This is a long race to go still. We're still on... We're there. Race just gone dead for a second there. We're on lap 19 of 45, so we've still got 27 laps remaining, almost. So these cars, if they're only managing 10 to 15 laps on these tyres, if he comes in that 5 laps earlier than everybody else, he might make up some good positions here. He's got clean air around him. He's in a relatively good position, so he has to just put down, work hard, and try and gain up on time now.
Yep, James Robbie and Wayne Taylor are going to go side by side through the carousel. They both just made a move on Stephen Williams, who doesn't look to be going too fast. So they've been an issue for Stephen Williams. Wayne Taylor's not going to be able to complete the move around the outside of the carousel. He's going to sit behind him in the kink move, look to get a run out of this corner. Backs up the entry, powers through the corner, and he will get a run on James Robbie, but not much of a run. Robbie's done a good job there to get a good line, good momentum through the kink, and he's going to hold him off for now and brake really deep into turn number 12. The rear end's going to really try to get away from him, but Robbie's going to do a good job there to keep the car under control, and he's going to keep that spot from Wayne Taylor.
Great driving there by James Robbie. It's looking good for Illusion at the moment. They have got a lot of cars in the field tonight. But Marco Dortnak's having a good drive up in 5th place at the moment, with a car that looks like it's been for a scrap heap 2 times. So not the best looking car on track, but he's still managing some speed. Stephen Williams, of course, is keeping sort of relatively up there as well. But you've got Chris Purnell in 3rd still. He is still a little bit behind off the leaders, and he has dropped about a second since those pit stops, so he's not gaining time, but he's only losing a tiny bit of time. We could see Chris Purnell try and make a bit of an interesting stint here. If he comes in a bit earlier than those leaders, he might be able to gain some time on the undercut.
I'm just sitting on board with Stephen Williams at the moment and a bit perplexed to how he's driving his car. He left it off the accelerator there about 100 minutes before he started braking for turn number 1, and he's shifting relatively early as well, and it's costing him a lot of time.
Maybe driving around a problem. Maybe his car's a little bit warm or something, possibly, or he's just having a bit of a trouble with the with this track, possibly.
He was running up in 6th place, and we saw him get overtaken. Well, I saw him get overtaken by James Robbie and Wayne Taylor in the space of a couple of seconds. And speaking of Taylor and Robbie, there's been a change of position. The 420 car's got ahead of James Robbie, and we'll see what exactly has unfolded there. I'll go back and have a look. Back
on Stephen Williams, he's just dropped back behind Andrew Morgridge, and Jason Martin's right on his tail now. He is really quite slow. That car is not driving as what he wants it to. He's just gone off the circuit, and it's just let Jason Martin just go straight through. I wonder what's happened to Stephen Williams. He seems to have a problem here. Don't know what it is, but he's really quite slow out on the track. He's losing a lot of time, and that car looks like a dog's dinner to drive.
If this wasn't iRacing, I'd be tempted to say he dropped a cylinder, but iRace doesn't quite advance that far, so yeah, I'm not too sure what's gone on with Williams there.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to go for a single stop strategy. He's not stopped yet. I don't think he's had 1 pit stop at the moment. He's on his 6th lap for his tyres. So the tyres aren't that old, but maybe he's just pulling off and just trying to sorry, not James Robbie, Stephen Williams, sorry. Wrong person I was looking at. No, Stephen Williams has not made a pit stop yet. So Stephen Williams might be just trying to go for that single stop approach, but it's really not working for him. He's losing too much time at the moment. He has to pit and change those tyres, which he is doing now.
He's diving into the pit lane now, and if he was going for a one-stop strategy, he was going about it the wrong way. He was way too slow. He's 50 seconds off the lead of the race. Yeah, interesting one. We'll see if he retires in the race or whether he makes a pit stop and gets back onto the track. We'll keep you updated on that one.
I wonder if maybe his tyres just fell off the cliff. Sometimes with these tyres, of course, when you go too far on a set of tyres, they will eventually just stop working. As with a real tyre, of course, you just go through, start getting to the canvas, of course, you lose a lot of grip. I wonder if Stephen Williams has just done that with these tyres, just taken them to the absolute limit, and they've just fallen off the cliff, just fallen apart, and he's lost all his speed and grip, basically.
I want to agree with you, Carl, but probably not. Probably not. I don't think that was the situation there for Williams. I'd say it's more of an engine-related issue or a technical-related issue on his side, because he was a bit slow on the straight line as well.
Yeah, he's just come out. He's coming out the pits now. Looked like a relatively quick stop as well. So Not sure there, a really weird one. Keeping an eye on Stephen to see what happens there, but he has dropped down to 15th place now, so really not very good for him. He's really, whatever he was trying, it hasn't paid off. And Martin is actually catching Moggridge at the moment, so Martin is having a good little drive here. He's gaining up some positions, gaining up some time, really pushing the car quite well. And Martin has really been focusing on his road racing of late. He's been trying his best to get better at road racing. He knows that's his weak point. And Sonoma last week in the Cup Series, Martin had a fantastic drive. He ended up finishing really well in that race, and a bit higher than expected. So Jason Martin is really trying very hard, and he's sort of almost on the back of Mockridge at the moment, who just made a little bit of a mistake as he was going up into the kettle bottom sort of pink section. Just got a little bit wide. The car was just a little bit slippery going through the corners. As he comes through the turn number 14, the car just looks a little bit of a handful as well as he comes up to the start from the straight.
Yep, and the interesting thing to note here is Moggridge is of course not an ANZCAR regular. I think this may well be his first race in ANZCAR competition, and so he's going to be completely unaware of the championship battle that Jason Martin's in, and maybe even unaware that this is the last race of the season. So I don't think Martin should be expecting any favours here from Moggridge in terms of letting him go pretty cleanly. So he's going to have to work for this move and make sure he gets it done cleanly.
Yeah, well that's it. We've got a lot of drivers, a lot of genuine drivers who are coming in just for this race alone, because it's sort of a different race for the series. A lot of these drivers are road course specialists, of course, and they come in and they don't have to care about the championship. It's about the racing for them. They want to have good racing, and well, Andrew Moggridge is definitely getting a bit of that good racing tonight.
Certainly is. We've seen Martin close up the back of him through turn number 4. I'm going to say 5. Through turn number 5 and now through turn number 6. I hate it. I don't like road courses. It's too hard to compensate. And now through turn number 7. He's just going to sit back and he's probably just going to have a look and see where he can make the move on Moggridge.
Yeah, so back with the curious case of Stephen Williams, he's actually setting some relatively good lap times. He's back on the track. The tyres are looking relatively good.
Wayne Taylor's right in behind Mirko Dornak through the kink, and he might get a run, and he will get a run down through turn number 11A, as they like to call it in America, because they're weird. And now through into turn number 12. Can he brake late, get up the inside of Dornak? No, he can't. This is Canada Corner, curiously located in America. And then Canada Corner on Road America. I'm never going to figure that one out, am I? And now through turn 13 for Wayne Taylor. Might be able to get up the inside of turn 14. No, he can't. See if he can get a run out of turn 14. If he can, he gets a very good line. That's the line you want to take when you're trying to get a run on someone, and he has managed to get a bit of a run. And with the draft, he should be able to suck up to the back of Dornak and get close enough to have a lunge into turn number 1. Will Dornak try and cover the inside? No, he won't. And Wayne Taylor's just lifted off the throttle a bit there. Maybe not game enough to have a lunge up the inside at turn number 1. Right up behind them is actually James Robbie.
Yeah, so these guys are fighting really hard at the moment, which is what we want to see. Of course, Canada Corner, I think it's got its name because it's the closest corner to Canada on the track. Wisconsin is very close to Canada. One of the states that's very close to Canada, not far away from it. So I think that possibly might be the reason, not 100% sure. Just a bit of speculation there. But some really good driving from these guys. They are definitely pushing the car quite hard. Dortnak is definitely struggling as he's going down the straight. Not quite as fast as the other guys with that little bit of damage on the front. But he's still keeping the car relatively clean on the corners. Runs a little bit wide, going through turn number 5 up to turn number 6 now. As he comes up here, and again, looking good through the corners. But it does look like Taylor and Robbie are just that little bit faster. They have that little bit more front grip.
Matt Danson's just taken 3 seconds out of Matt Morris's lead, so Morris has made a mistake at some point, because why have been chatting away? That lead was up to 5 seconds for Morris, and now it's down to 2.6 seconds, so maybe Danson's finding a bit of a second wind here, and maybe getting a bit closer. Oh, they're side by side. Dornak, Wayne Taylor trying to get around the outside. He's might be able to do it around the outside. If he does, it's going to be a fantastic move at the carousel. And he's going to do it. What a move for Wayne Taylor around the outside of the longest corner on the track. And don't do this, James Robbie. Don't go side by side of the kink. And Dornak quite wisely backs out of that one. And James Robbie manages to get around the outside of the kink. 2 very unlikely moves. Sees Mirko Dornak go from 5th to 7th in 2 corners.
Very generous there by Mirko Dornak. He could have fought that one, but it would have been a losing battle for both cars. Very brave move there as well for Roby. He just really put it on the ragged edge there. I was just watching Matt Morris driving, and the car was a little bit sideways going through 3 corners. Not too sure what's happening with him. Maybe his tyres are just a little bit hot. Maybe he's just having a little bit of trouble. The car's just not sticking as it wants to. Of course, these guys are on 10-lap tyres now, and we have seen people pitting for on the 10th lap because they are struggling a little bit. But Mirko Dornak, just to actually talk about him, he's actually on tyres that are he's on 15-lap-old tyres at the moment. He was one of the earliest pit stoppers, so his tyres are much older than the guys around him, who are only on 8 to 9-lap-old tyres. So he's doing a fantastic job of keeping pace with these guys.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Danson's got this lead now down to 1.9 seconds, and it looks like, just from the eye here, it might be even closer on this lap. So Morris probably just struggling a bit on these older tyres, and maybe it is a 3-stop race.
Well, we do know that Danson is incredibly generous on his tyres. He's able to just find rubber and stick it back on the tyres and give them more grip again. So maybe that's what's happened here. Morris has just pushed a little bit hard. Danson's now been saving the car a little bit for this moment. That gap has dropped to about 1.6 seconds between the two of them, so they are very close between each other. But you can just see Matt Morris is just not quite as confident on the accelerator, not confident on the brakes at the moment. He's still braking relatively late, but he's just, as he's coming out the corner, you can just hear the car blipping up a little bit. He's just getting a little bit of wheel spin. The car's moving a little bit underneath him. His wheel, as you sort of can see his steering wheel, he's having to put some opposite lock as he's going through the corners. And Matt Danson just making a feint for the pit lane, I think, then. Just trying to make Matt Morris think that maybe he was going into the pits early. But it has cost him a little bit of time. Matt Danson's just dropped about 0.5 of a second.
Yeah, I think he spun the tyres like coming out of the final corner there. I don't think that was a planned feint to the pit lane. But he did still gain by 1/10 over... It was a 10th faster than Morris on that last lap, so it's a little bit of a gain for Danson there.
Yeah, he's definitely faster on the lap speed there, and as I say, maybe that little bit of wheel spin there just cost him a bit on the exit, and it would have cost him a bit of speed as well, because that front straight is quite a long one. You do get up to some speed going through there.
Just touching again on Jason Martin, he's actually fallen off the back of Andrew Mogridge now, and Mogridge is going to catch Mirko Dornak probably on the next lap too, so Martin maybe just trying to save his stuff, and maybe he realises that, hey, if he stays where he is, he's going to win the championships. Maybe he's just going to settle back here and just make sure he gets across the line.
Yeah, that's one of the things as well. And also on the road course, of course, we don't have the full course yellows. There's no not really any safety cars or anything like that, so you can't rely on them. You've got to use your pit strategy as you go about it. And he might just be thinking now, just pull back a bit, won't push as hard on these tyres, let them just get a bit of breathing room. Matt Danson has fallen off a bit of time as well. The gap now is 2.5 seconds, so he has lost a little bit of time. But Mirko Dornak is really struggling now. He is on those tyres that are much older than everybody else around him, and it's starting to cost him a lot of time. He is just hemorrhaging lap time, and you can see these guys behind him just catching him up. They've just got that bit more grip on it. And as I said, I wonder if that's the thing that happened to Stephen Williams earlier on, because he just seemed to be really struggling out there, and now he's back on the track with the tyres. He seems to be going just fine. Of course, maybe the Illusion boys are also communicating with each other, just trying to work out what strategy is going to be best, how long to push these tyres, seeing if they can get Chris Purnell up a little bit further.
Yeah, Mogridge is unable to complete the move with Dornak for the first couple of corners. He's been stuck behind him, and now he's going to take a big dive under the inside at 10 over 8. Dornak went to turn in and realised Mogridge was up there, so he opened up the steering and allowed Mogridge to get up the inside, and he completes that move. And now Jason Martin's having a look around the outside of the carousel. We learned from Wayne Taylor that move is actually possible, but Martin's not going to be able to get it done on this lap.
Just speaking of Chris Purnell there, I just mentioned him. As soon as I looked at him, he fell off the track, of course, because that's how commentary works. He's just lost a fair bit of time. He's lost about 3 seconds in that lap. He went off the track twice, and he was really struggling to get grip on those tyres. So again, people are really struggling past that 10 lap mark.
Yeah, they certainly are. Martin's made the move on Mirko Dornak, just managed to skip it off the track, and Martin's using a lot of the track at turn 12, I've noticed, and maybe that's him trying to save his tyres, keep it as straight as possible. Maybe that's just a bit of that road course inexperience, because you don't want to go that far wide at zone number 12.
No, when you start going out that far, you're going to start encountering things like marbles, the track's not as clean, you're going to get dirt on your tyres, and as we said earlier, once you've got dirt on your tyres, it's a bit of a death sentence. You end up spinning them up more, you end up sliding more, which makes you use them more, of course. The worst thing for tyres, of course, is lateral slide. When you're going for a corner, you want the car to be nice and flat, nice and straight. Once you get things like oversteer or understeer, you have to turn the wheel a bit harder or a bit sharper, and that causes that tyre life to just drop significantly. The other thing, though, is going around the corner a little bit wider does mean you're not turning quite as hard. So sometimes it can work. It definitely in rain situations it works, but sometimes on these road courses it doesn't work as well as you think it would.
Certainly, and I'm just watching the battle for 5th place. Wayne Taylor and Jones Robbie, they're still stuck together. It looks like this is going to be a bit of a race-along battle between these two drivers. Maybe a bit like we saw between Chris Cornell and Jason Martin last week in Sonoma. But, I don't know, it's been a good race so far. Carl, what are your thoughts on this race so far? We've just gone over the halfway mark.
Well, you've now put the curse of the commentator on it, so we're going to have a terrible race for the rest of the session. No, it's been a fantastic race. We've had some really good driving out there, some really good overtakes, which is what we want to see. Of course, it's starting to fall into that little bit of procession now as people start spreading out, but we have got drivers that are still finding position, like James Roby and Taylor. And we've got Jason Martin, who just overtook Mako Dortnack. He's trying his best to keep on the back of Mogridge. But Mogridge's just got that little bit of extra speed, it seems. He's just able to keep Martin behind him. But don't count out that battle. And of course, we've got the battle for the lead. And at the moment, Matt Danson is falling back a bit on Morris. But I wonder if he's trying to keep some life in the car by just not pushing it too much. There's about 3 seconds now between the two of them. Oh, it's gone down to 2 seconds, actually. Morris has made a bit of a mistake and lost a second in that lap. So yeah, Matt Danson has just gained a heap of time as they're going down towards turn 5. Let's just see how Matt Morris goes through these corners. Matt Morris just taking a nice wide line into the corner. He's just taken the corner really well. At the moment, the car is looking absolutely beautiful through those corners. He just looks like no issue at all. But I have noticed that Morris has had a few corners where the car has just snapped oversteered, and he's had to really be on it to keep that car on the track. So as we go on, we've got Matt Morris, the leader, with Matt Danson behind him, the championship contending driver. Matt Danson, of course, he wants to get this championship win. But his
Mirko Dornack has finally dived into the pit lane and get some new tyres on, and maybe he can go a bit faster now.
Yeah, Mirko Dornack was on those tyres for 18 laps.
And he's overshot his pit box.
Oh, it's been the bane of everybody tonight. Everybody's been having trouble with those pit boxes. They've been obviously they've been watching Jason Martin do his pit stops and trying to copy him, which is not the best idea. Jason Martin, though, has just made an absolute dog's dinner of the turn number 5. Sorry, he just really had a bad time going through there. The car was he's still driving that really wide line, but did not look comfortable at all. He was really having trouble steering that car into position. So Ryan, what are your thoughts on the race so far? Who do you think's really shining at the moment?
Matt Morris. Matt Morris done a pretty good job. We saw in Sonoma he had a fair bit of pace in Sonoma, but unfortunately made a mistake and wasn't able to finish the race. And at the moment, Morris doing a pretty good job at the moment. He's leading this race. He's led the most laps so far. He's got a 2-second lead over Matt Danson, who's a championship contender, and we'll see if Morris can hang on and take a win here. He's a bit of a road course ring-in driver. And of course, just to update on some of the guys towards the back of the field, we of course have those 3 drivers that never started this race: Mark Johansson, Stratford and James Allen. We've had just 3 retirements: Brian Richmond, Michael Ladder and Damon Stockton, who we saw in the wars for a fair bit of this race, but unfortunately he has retired now, so we won't see him for the rest of this one. 3 cars have been lapped so far. That's Tristan Koch, Matt Hunter. I had such high hopes for Matt Hunter, but there he is, he's a lap down. Justin Yelland in 15th.
Yeah, Matt Hunter, of course, letting the side down for the commentary team. We always like to try and do a good job for the commentary team when we're driving out there. We do have our absolute guns, of course, with Dave Douglas, one of the best drivers we have for the commentary team.
I
I'm sure a couple will disagree there. But yeah, we do like to
That's a
try and
great
show
drive.
off with that one. Just another guy to mention is actually Tristan Yellen's having a really good job driving at the moment. He's up in 15th place, but he's got Matt Hunter behind him. Those two are having a good little battle as well, keeping the cars clean. Matt Hunter, of course, the young driver for Blake's Advice Racing. Again, he's one of their young drivers that's just coming up the series. He's doing really well in the championship. He's had some very good finishes. But these guys are just driving well. They're keeping the car intact. They've not made many mistakes. The cars are looking clean. They're just getting the laps underneath their belt. And as more drivers drop off, it's just going to help them in their championship hopes.
Yeah, Wayne Taylor's just made a pit stop, so he's gonna take a big advantage from this as long as he doesn't make a mistake, because James Robbie has continued on. Of course, these two locked in battle, and Wayne Taylor's going to get the advantage of the undercut. Of course, he is already in front of Robbie, so it's going to open up his gap even more to Robbie. And I suspect we'll see that 41 car dive into the lane this time to try and mitigate some of that loss.
Yes, it's hard out on track because, of course, when you're driving in front of a person, it's hard to judge if they're going to pit or not, because you want to try and pit on the same lap so they don't get any advantage. Of course, when there's a bit of a gap between you, what's happening between Dunson and Morris, is the car behind you can, of course, pit quite easily, and you can't do anything about it. You can't really react to their pit stop. So it does make it a little bit harder. But we've got people still up there. We've got Chris Purnell and Skurlock still up in 3 and 4. Those two are having a relatively good race. Skurlock has dropped off a lot from Purnell. Purnell is only about 16 seconds behind the leaders at the moment. So he's still in contention if there's any mistakes at the front.
Well, the ever-changing seesaw that is Matt Danton and Matt Morris's gap has come down to 1.7 seconds, and it looks like Danton's making more inroads on this lap. But as we talk about those two, James Robbie has, as predicted, dived into the pit lane to try and cover off Wayne Taylor's pit stop on the previous lap.
It will be interesting to see how these guys go now, because Jason Martin's also just jumped into the pit lane as well. But we'll just see how much time. We'll just see how much time Wayne Taylor actually makes now. But Matt Danson and Matt Morris are having a real battle now. Matt Danson is now only 0.6 of a second behind. He's really closing on Matt Morris. He's closing on Matt. Sorry, Matt Danson is closing on Matt Morris. Too many Matts tonight. Those two are really having a great battle at the moment, and they are very close to each other.
Yeah, I wonder whether we'll see one of these drivers dive into the pit lane this lap, as we've seen from a lot of the midfield drivers. As we do, James Robbie's just rains onto the track, and where is Wayne Taylor? Taylor is ahead of James Robbie by about a second and a half, so definitely an advantage for Wayne Taylor. As Dan's now very, very close indeed to the back of Matt Morris. So they go through turn number 14. We'll see whether either of these drivers peels off into the pit lane. I suspect if Morris dives in, we'll see Danson follow him.
Matt Morris has just had, he was having a lot of oversteer as he was going through the corners, and Matt Danson again just does that slight feint to the pit lane. Something he does quite often in ovals as well. Himself and Jason Martin are notorious for it. But Matt Morris was really having trouble through those corners. He was just having real bad exit off the corners. The tyres were just lighting up. He was losing a bit of time and just going a bit wide, a little bit squirrely through the corners. So we could see Matt Danson making the moves quite soon on Matt Morris.
Yeah, it should be a good battle, and Jason Martin did in fact get past Andrew Mogridge in the pit lane, so a terrible stop for Mogridge there. He's not going to be happy with that. He's cost himself a bit of a strong position in this race, as Matt Morris has just got enough of a gap as we head down to number 5. He's locked up the front left, but unfortunately for Matt Danson has made a mistake as well. They're both going to run really wide, and Morris is going to hang on. He's going to get away with that mistake, and that was an opportunity that's gone.
Yeah, really missed
by
that.
Danson.
Matt Danson missed that opportunity there. He was really open for an overtake there, Matt Morris. But Matt Danson ran wide into the corner as well. These guys are pushing those tyres right to the edge of the limits. With the speed they're carrying out there, they're just chewing through the tyres a little bit quicker than everybody else. And you can just see these guys just skating around. It's like driving on ice at the moment. As Matt Morris just gets a huge amount of oversteer as he's going into the carousel. The back of that car is not happy at all. The rear tyres are just not wanting to get any traction to this track whatsoever. And we'll see how Matt Morris goes as we come up towards the kink and the kettle bottom area. I think Matt Danson's probably going to be looking at making a move through the through Canada corner. As Matt Morris goes in, he brakes a little bit later. Matt Danson a little bit early, he's trying to get the run off the corner. Matt Morris makes a mistake as he's coming out, a little bit of oversteer, which is giving Matt Danson that chance to just try and get the overtake done up through turn 14. As we go down to turn 14, Matt Danson knows he's got better exit speed.
Yeah, and as they come out of turn number 14, we'll see whether they pit this time by. At this stage, Morris does dive into the lane, as does Matt Danson. Danson's going to really close up. He's going to give a shot to the back of Matt Morris entering the pit lane. Hopefully, for the sake of this race, that hasn't given Morris a penalty for speeding. But I think he should be okay. It wasn't too big of a hit. And all things going well, this should be the last pit stop of the race for these two leaders. So just got to make this entry into the box perfect just one last time. Of course, with worn tyres comes very difficult pit stops.
Yes,
your tyres do not want to stop when you hit the brakes on this concrete. As we see, Danson will get it stopped perfectly, and as will Matt Morris. Good pit stop for both those drivers. We'll see who gets a fast pit stop and who comes out first.
Yeah, see who's paid their pit crews well here. Matt Danson and Matt Morris are both on it. Matt Danson looks like he's just made a better stop there, and Danson has indeed made a better stop. He gets out in front of Morris. Fantastic job for Matt Danson. He just hit the stops a little bit closer than Matt Morris, which meant he had the tyre change a little bit quicker. I do wonder though if maybe Matt Danson, he has picked up a bit of damage, of course, on the front of that car. I do hope neither of them were done for speeding in the pit lane on the entry, because obviously Matt Danson was trying to slow that car down quite a bit and it was not doing it. Just behind him, Chris Purnell has also made his pit stop, so he's on sequence with the leaders now.
Well, I'll put you out of your misery for your worry for that one, Carl, because if they had been done for speeding, they would have been given a pit stop penalty. They would have been held in the pit box during that pit stop, so it looks like they've both gotten away with that bit of contact at the entry to pit lane.
Which is what we want to see. Less penalties in motorsport. Please, less penalties. Wayne Taylor's actually made up some good positions now. Wayne Taylor is up into 5th place. He's having a good little drive now as well. He has made a second stop too. So Wayne Taylor gets the undercut a little bit on some of the guys around him. Sitting up in 5th place now with James Robbie just behind him. Jason Martin as well is in 7th place, sorry. Just with Mako Dortnack behind him, who is just falling off a bit from Jason Martin. So this is all looking good for Jason Martin. All he has to do is really cruise around in this position, and he's got that championship sewn up. Of course, the big thing now is, will Matt Morris get past Matt Danson?
Well, we saw at the start of this race, and after that first pit stop, Matt Morris had the pace for the early part of the run, and it was most definitely quicker than Matt Danson. And it wasn't until the very end of the run, when the tyres were starting to really wear out, that Matt Danson was able to make any inroads on Matt Morris. So I suspect we'll see Morris absolutely harassing the back of Danson here for the first 5-6 laps of this run.
Which we are seeing indeed. Matt Morris has just got such better drive out of the corners. He just takes a nice sharp line into the apex, keeps the car sitting there perfectly. Matt Danson just likes to run a little bit wider, but it's costing him time as he's coming out the corner. Matt Morris is really gaining on Danson, and I think we're going to see a change of position not too soon.
Yeah, but Danson's going to put up one hell of a fight here, because he knows that I don't know if he'll know where Martin. He probably knows where Martin is. He knows that Martin's back in 7th place, and he realizes that he's going to have to win this race. He's going to have any shot at the championship. He's going to have to hope things go his way elsewhere as well. But so he's going to be fighting really hard to keep this spot away from Matt Morris, and especially with that being the last pit stop of the race, there's an opportunity for Matt Danson to get back ahead of him unless Morris makes a mistake. So it should be a really tough fight here between these two drivers.
Indeed, and Matt Morris has just got a little bit of draft as he's coming down to turn 5. He's later on the brakes, but he's just catching up. We've got that slight accordion effect as we go through. But Matt Morris has got beautiful drive off the corner, and he's going on the inside for turn number 6. What a fantastic job for Matt Morris. He makes the move on Danson, gets past. Matt Danson tries to get the crisscross, gets on the inside, but he does not. Matt Morris has taken the lead of this race.
Absolutely textbook move from Matt Morris there. Nothing Danson could do about that. He could have fought a bit harder maybe on the outside through turn 6, but he didn't do it. And now Morris has just got a bit of sideways action through turn number 8, but Danson's not able to get to his inside as they go very close to the carousel. Morris again getting a bit of that grass on the inside as he's done most laps through that carousel corner, just trying to cut it as tight as he can. and we'll see whether they can whether Danson can manufacture a move into Canada corner. He'll back up to the entry to turn number 11. He'll try and get a run through the kink, but he's not going to be able to do it. He's going to get sideways through the kink, and Morris is going to open up a gap now of about 4 or 5 car lengths over Danson.
I tell you what, that was fantastic car control by Matt Danson there, because he could have easily gone into a wall there. That was a very bad moment for him. Very big moment of snap oversteer. He's going through there, hit the bump. So he did well to recover that, but he has lost time. So he's not going to be happy with that at all. But what he has to do now is just try and save those tyres and keep the tyres nice and fresh for later in the race. If he can keep this gap as it is, I think he's got a chance for the win still, because Matt Danson was much faster at the later stages. So as we come towards around about lap 40, I think, Matt Danson will start harassing Matt Morris once again. Oh, and Michael Skurlock's made a big mistake going into Canada corner, really far off the track. It's not going to cost him too badly, because he has got quite a bit of lead over Wayne Taylor.
Wayne Taylor has in fact fallen back into the clutches of James Robbie, so that small advantage he got from pitting before Robbie has been evaporated, as Robbie's driven beautifully to get to the back. We'll see these guys resume their race-long battle.
Yes, they've been sort of stuck together all race, these guys, and it's a shame that Damon Stockton went out, because he was having a fantastic battle with these guys too. But these guys are really putting on a fantastic show tonight. James Robbie is just having the drive of his life at the moment. He is putting in some amazing performances. Wayne Taylor as well is doing a fantastic job. He's up 4 positions from where he started, so really driving well, up in 5th place with that car. Really nice job. And just behind them still is Jason Martin, who is just cruising around at the moment. He's still trying to put in some fast laps, but he's sort of he's not really doing much better than his best lap of the race. He's a little bit down on pace from the other guys, for sure.
He is, but he's doing what he needs to do. I suspect Martin's just taking it easy at the moment. He's not pushing too hard and doesn't want to take any unnecessary risks. Meanwhile, Andrew Morgridge, who we saw up there ahead of Jason Martin, had that terrible pit stop, is now back in 9th place. He's about 2.8 seconds behind Mirko Dornak. Saw Dornak pitted a bit earlier than these guys, so I'll be keeping an eye on that battle to see whether Morgridge is going to get a bit closer as this run goes on. I suspect he probably will, as Dornak is on quite older tyres, and Martin's made a bit of a mistake through turn number 4. He's sliding the car through 4, but fantastic car control. He doesn't actually go off the track, he just runs a bit wide and manages to hold on to P number 7 as Wayne Taylor and James Robbie continue to just accordion in and out of each other through the braking zones and out of the corners.
Yeah, good bit of driving there. The guy just back, Stephen Williams, he is now in 10th place. He's only made 1 pit stop. Those tyres are 12 laps old now. He made it to about 20 laps, I think it was. So I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the end of the race, in all honesty. I think Stephen Williams doesn't pit once more. But he might be trying for the one stop of this race. I don't think it's going to work out for him, but everything's worth a shot. And just behind him is actually Matthew Raymond, again having a nice little run there.
Yes, it looks like at the moment Stephen Williams, if all stays this way, Williams will take 4th place in the championship, and I suspect Matty Raymond and Matty Clute will be battling for 5th place in the championship. I'll just grab those championship standings up again and have a look at it again.
Yeah, it is very close between that sort of 4th onwards. Of course, Ryan Jones in 4th is not going to be doing too well tonight. He's decided to join us in the commentary booth and not the racetrack. I did say maybe he should do multitasking while he's driving, do commentary as well, but he wasn't up for it.
So Matty Clute, 7 points behind Matty Raymond in the championship, and Raymond 14 behind Williams. So it looks like Williams going to hold on to 4th place. Raymond should be comfortable for 5th, and Clute 25 points, the difference from myself to Matty Raymond. So Matty Raymond might not take 5th place away.
No, Matty Raymond has just got back into 10th place as Stephen Williams does pit indeed. I didn't think he could keep it out there for the whole race. So he's pitted right now, so he's only got 11 laps to go. This could be a good move by Stephen Williams, because everybody's going to start to struggle on those tyres towards the end of the race. But in all honesty, it did not pay off because of that earlier move. When he lost all that time earlier in the race, He left it too late to pit for those tyres. He almost left it to the stage where his tyres just completely fell off the cliff by the looks of things, and he lost all that time. I don't think he's going to get that back, but he might be able to get sort of. He's still sitting in 12th place. He might be able to get to a top 10 finish possibly, but he'll have to drive incredibly hard to get there.
Yeah, he would, and now this puts Matty Raymond in a spot where he might be able to take 4th place away, but I don't think there's enough drivers in this race to maybe drop Williams down, because of course he's made his pit stop now, but he's still going to be in the top sort of 15, which means he's still going to have enough points over Matthew Raymond.
Yeah, this is it now. Drivers driving for the championship, and sometimes, look, to get a good position in the championship, you have to drive smart and not fast. And when you're just driving that sort of race, you race on your own terms, you keep to your lap numbers, you keep to your pit stops that you've planned out, and try not to get involved in too many incidents. And it can really pay dividends for championship contention towards the end of the season. And of course, this being the last race of the season, all of those points do matter. So maybe he's just worked out that, yep, if he just goes for this pit stop a little bit later, he might be able to get in those positions and sort of solidify his position in the championship stand.
Oh, Matthew Kloot just had a handful of opposite lock over the kind of a corner. He did a good job to gather it up, and he'll continue on his way. He won't want to do that 20 more times, because he's only going to get away with that a couple times throughout this race. Let's see, who's that? Mirko Dornak's got off the track, and Moguric's going to go past him, and Dornak's going to cam that position to the race in ANZCAR. And Dornak, a fatal error there, going to fall back to 9th place.
Yeah, Dornak's not had the cleanest of races. He's driving well with a very damaged car, but he is definitely struggling. I imagine he would be having much more fun if that car was not so crumpled. But this has really helped out. Jason Martin's just made a big mistake going into turn number 5. Again, run really wide, and that's going to cost him a bit of time. But he's not really in a position where he has to worry. He's sitting in 7th at the moment, and he's got a big enough gap behind himself to sort of keep him in position. Andrew Morgridge is...
Morgridge.
I said Morgridge.
You said Morgridge.
It's my accent.
It's a tricky name, I'll give you that, Carl.
I'm going to blame my accent on this one. So yeah, Andrew Morgridge is just sitting behind Martin at the moment, and... Well, he's not really close enough to do anything to
I'm just going to cut you off here, because James Robbie's got a fantastic run on Wayne Taylor for 5th place. He's going to have to get past him down the straight before they even get to Canada Corner, and Wayne Taylor's going to have to sit back and maybe reassess how he's taking the kink, because he's really lost a bunch of time through there and allowed Robbie to make quite an easy move in a straight line there. We'll see if Taylor's got anything for Robbie, but I don't think he's going to have much, because Robbie was harassing the back of Wayne Taylor, who was all over the back of him for a number of laps, so I think we might see Robbie just get out in front of Taylor now and sort of drive away from him.
Yeah, brilliant driving from James Robbie there, and he's really pulling away a bit from Wayne Taylor. These two have just been having the battle of the race, though. It's every time I look towards battles, it is pretty much these two guys on track. Fantastic driving as well, and James Robbie and Wayne Taylor both have pretty clean cars as well, which is testament to sort of just keeping the cars nice and clean and not crashing and not causing any damage to people around you. So great.
Sorry to interrupt, but I suspect Matt Morris has made a mistake, because a 3.2 second gap the last time they crossed the line has come down to about 2 seconds now, maybe a second and a half. So maybe at this point in the race where Danson starts to close in again on Matt Morris, we'll find out, but not too far from now.
Yeah, Matt Morris is... I think maybe it was a lapped car. I've got a feeling they were going past a Illusion car, and it just cost Matt Morris a bit of time. Stephen Williams, of course, and I think because Stephen Williams is on those nice, fresh, sticky new tyres, he's got the speed to sort of keep the car in position for these guys, and they're not having the easiest time of overtaking him. Those tyres are making him a lot faster than he actually is in the race, giving him much better sort of lap times than the leaders. And they're really struggling to sort of fight their way past him as they lap him. So I think that might have been the issue, is just Stephen Williams just getting a little bit in the way, because Matt Morris has now pulled out a decent gap. He's 4 seconds ahead of Matt Danson, and Danson still has to get through the mobile chicane that is Stephen Williams. Not a disparagement to Stephen Williams there, but he is the sort of lapped car at the moment. But he is slightly faster than the guys that have lapped him, of course. Stephen Williams just then set a 2 minutes 11.2, while Matt Morris was setting a 2 minutes 11.3.
Only a 2:12.2 for Danson, so he's lost a second to Matt Morris in that lap, so
And that's it. I do wonder
Whatever
if maybe,
advantage.
I do wonder if maybe following Williams, it's just putting Danson slightly offline. He's trying to get through that lapped car. And as he's doing that, and Matt Morris has made a big mistake going into turn number 5.
Oh,
He
he's
is
way off the
into
track.
the gravel.
He's in the gravel. This might give it to Matt Danson. Danson's going to come through turn number 5 as well. Where's Morris going to rejoin? He's going to rejoin in front of Danson. And Danson's going to have a big dive at turn number 6. Going to shove it up the inside. Morris is going to give him some room, and now Danson's going to try and go the long way around at turn number 7. It's a tough corner to go side by side through. And Morris is going to lift off and let Danson take the outside, but he's still got a nose up there around the outside for turn number 8. And now Danson's going to try and clear him in the braking zone as Matt Morris is going to try the crossover move. He can't get it done, and Danson's going to take the lead away from Matt Morris. Fantastic bit of racing.
A huge mistake there for Matt Morris. He just outbraked himself. And Matt Danson was just he actually got a draft off Stephen Williams going down that straight as well into turn number 5, which gave Matt an extra bit of speed just to catch Matt Morris while his pants were down, while he made that mistake. And he has really made Matt Morris, really punished Matt Morris for that mistake. That is really going to hurt him. So Matt Morris now has to play the game of trying to pass Matt Danson once more.
Well, this is going to set it up to an absolute grandstanding finish between these two drivers. Just 8 laps to go now in this race. Just under 20 minutes of racing still to come, and it's going to be all about Matt Morris and whether he can get back ahead of Matt Danson, a race that Morris has really had control of for most of this race, and he's just made an absolutely huge error there, and really just given Danson an opportunity that you don't want to ever give Danson.
And of course, Danson is better on his tyres. We've seen that in this race. He seems to be better on his tyres. So this may give Matt Danson the win right now. Matt Morris may have just cost himself a victory, just outbraking himself there. Matt Danson is going to really make him pay for that mistake. Matt Danson are those last lap times are not really easy to tell, but Matt Morris was a 2-minute 18 while Matt Danson was a 2-minute 13. That time he lost was huge, and that's really going to affect him. Right now, the gap is 0.6 of a second. Matt Morris is really keeping on the back of Danson and trying his best to punish Matt Danson, force him into a mistake possibly. But behind them, they have Stephen Williams still, who is lapping around the same lap times, but he's a lap down at the moment. So I do wonder if maybe with those fresher tyres, as Danson and Morris start to fall off the cliff, if maybe he can try and unlap himself. If he does that, that could cause more problems for these leaders.
Yeah, well, Stephen Williams is quite a long way behind the next car for position, Matty Clute, who's just gone through the kink, and Williams is, of course, only just going through turn number 7 now. So I think if Williams is probably just going to sit behind these guys, because it's not looking very likely he's going to make any more positions up in this race.
Oh, and Stephen Williams has just had a huge moment and it's gone completely sideways as they were going up towards the carousel through turn number 8. But Matt Morris has actually started making time, and Matt Morris has gone round. Matt Morris has spun the car, and off he goes into the grass. He's managed to stop it from going into the wall. He clipped the curb. Back of the car has hit the wall. He clipped the curb as he was going through the carousel. That line he's been taking all race long has finally bitten him. He hit the curb. The car went up in the air. He's lost control, spun out, and this has given Chris Purnell a chance to get to second, but this has pretty much handed Matt Danson possibly a victory.
Well, I don't know. I hate to see that, because it was going to be a fantastic battle to the end there. Morris really close back up to back Danson, and yeah, he got onto that grass as he had done for the rest of his race, but the big difference there is he got onto it very late on in the corner, and what's happened is he's hit the curb as the curb has started. Yeah, he said it's bounced the car from the end. He had it safe, he had the car safe, but unfortunately, maybe a bit of inexperience with these cars shows as he's over-corrected it and flicked the car back around the other way, and then bit of fluster there in the car as he's let the car roll back into the wall, which wasn't necessarily something that had to be done, but yeah, Morris will be absolutely kicking himself over there. He's now 13 seconds behind Matt Danson, and
yeah, that was a big mistake from Morris. As you say, he just clipped the curb as it started, and some of these curbs, when they actually start, they don't have a gradual little lump. They're quite a punky bit of concrete. And what happens is when you clip a curb when it starts, especially on a corner like that where they're not expecting the car to come in, Sometimes on the grass it's a little bit uneven, the grass is a little bit lower than the curb, and it just kicked the car up. You can see the car just launch off the ground slightly, and of course when your wheels aren't connected to the ground, you're going to go sideways. But this has given Chris Purnell a bit of a sniff for second place. He's not too far off of Matt Morris. He has to push. Matt Morris again makes a bit of a mistake as he's going through a corner. He just goes running off onto the grass. If we see Matt Morris make another mistake, though, this could be a second place for Chris Purnell.
Yeah, it could be, but I think Morris going through the carousel now. Purnell, yeah, it's pretty close between these two. I think a mistake from Morris will really close Purnell up, and it's not over until that checkered flag falls, and it is possible that Danson too could make a mistake, much like Morris did. But I think at the moment Danson with that 13-second lead is probably going to take it a bit easy now, and maybe underdrive the car a little bit to make sure he gets this checkered flag.
Yeah, he can afford just to lift off a little bit. He doesn't have to take those risks. He doesn't have to push too hard. Kind of like Jason Martin at the moment, he's setting relatively okay lap times. He's still pushing the car relatively hard, but he's not exactly setting the world ablaze. He's just relaxed. He's in a relatively good position. There's nobody too close to him. Wade Taylor is quite far down the road, so he's sort of on a race of his own at the moment. But again, he's just racing for that championship.
James Robbie just made a mistake through the kink and went off the track, and he's not got too much of a gap back to Wayne Taylor. It's only about a second between those two. He hasn't been able to pull out too much of a gap on those one lap fresher tyres that he has over Taylor, but he's going to get away with that mistake for now, and I think this is probably the closest battle on the track now between James Robbie and Taylor.
Yes, and round number 12 on these guys, I think. They've had some fights, these two. Really giving some entertaining fights on the track, and you can just see Taylor's just getting much better drive out of the corners. Of course, James Robbie does have some slightly fresher tyres by one lap, which is not a huge difference, but it can help. But they're starting to get to the point now where the tyres are going to start to lose their grip. They're getting to that 10-lap period of the stint, 11 laps, where the tyres start getting less grippy and you have to really drive around the car. It's driving around problems rather than sort of driving to your limit right now. You have to limit yourself not to push too hard, because if you push too hard, you're going to make a mistake like Matt Morris did, and it's going to come back to bite you, and it really can affect your race.
There is one closer battle on the track, though, and it's Matty Raymond and Matty Clerk, the battle for 10th place in the race. Matty Raymond's all over the place on the exits of these corners. He gets a bit of the grass in the turn 14. Lucky the car didn't unload itself there. And it looks like he maybe used up his tyres a bit more than Matthew Clute, who looks like he's got a bit more traction than Raymond does at the moment.
Yeah, they're on their 10th lap, and again, as I said, these guys are really struggling on that sort of 10-lap stint mark. So we'll see how these two go, but it does look like Matthew Clute's got just a little bit more speed than Raymond here, and he's just able to brake out a little bit later. A lot more confidence as he's going through the corners, as Raymond makes a small mistake going through the corner. He's lost the rear. That's
a bit of a tank slapper for Raymond there.
Yeah, that's just let Clerk just get side and just go through. Matthew Clerk makes the move. Matthew Raymond could have made a big mistake there and actually taken both of them out, so good driving there not to crash the car. It was a bit of a tank slapper. He managed to keep the car straight. It's so easy to spin the car in that situation, and when you've got a car going down your inside, and you sort of wonder about sort of spinning it a little bit just to try and help yourself get through the corner with the car to the side of you. But he managed to keep it. Again, he's made a small mistake on the exit of turn number 5. So these two are fighting quite well, but it's looking like Matthew Clerk might have this one well and truly done. As James Robbie and Wayne Taylor are still fighting their way through. Wayne Taylor is just falling back a little bit on Robbie, but they're still very close.
They are in the battle for 15th place, Tristan Yelland and Matt Hunter. Yelland just made a mistake and locked up a tyre in a turn number 5, and that's allowed Matt Hunter to close right up to the back of that 23 car, as we see Hunter take a wider line through turn number 6, and now through turn number 7 they're going to be reasonably close together again. We'll see if Hunter can manufacture a move on Tristo here. He's not going to be close enough for turn number 8, or is he? He's going to have a look, he's going to have a big lunge, he's going to get the car to the inside. Tristo really gave him some room there. He didn't need to give him some room, but he did. Very gentlemanly driving there from Tristan Yelland. And Matt Hunter's going to maybe try and make a move around the outside of the carousel. Not going to be able to get it done. Maybe see if he can get a run out of the carousel and get something done through the kink, as they both battle to get the power down. Tristan Yellen with a better run through the carousel.
Brilliant driving there by the two of them. Really, really good position of the car for Yellen. He did give a little bit of space for Hunter, but it meant he had a little bit of a better drive out of the corner, and that's what's kept him in front of Hunter at the moment.
And there's a good battle for 13th place as well, in exactly the same position of the track, now heading into the carousels, Norman Clark and Riley Curtis. Clark just ran a bit wide through the turn 8, trying to defend from Riley Curtis, who was very close to the back of him. Bit about a cigarette paper, as you would say, Carl, between them. As now a good run from Riley Curtis is going to give a big shot to the back of Norman Clark. See if Clark can get a good run through turn 11 so he can defend from Curtis down into turn number 12. But Curtis has run a bit too wide through turn 11, but he's still close enough as they go through turn 11A. Maybe a bit of a lunge from Riley Curtis coming up into turn number 12. He certainly brakes later. He's certainly going to get very close, but he's just not close enough. Almost running into the back of that 7 car of Norman Clark. But Clark's going to hold on for now.
Yeah, Norman Clark's a very experienced head there. He's a very experienced driver as well. And Riley Curtis as well, another very good driver in the series. Of course, with the Riley Curtis design team, likes of Vice Racing, the team over at that team, and quite a few cars in the series. These two are having a great fight. Middle Finger Racing versus Riley Curtis Design, something we've seen a few times in the season. Looks like Riley Curtis might have a little bit of a slipstream here. He's just jumping out behind Clark and going into the corner. Riley Curtis able to break out a little bit later. These two are having a fantastic battle. Norman Clark is on the older tyres at the moment, so he is struggling a little bit probably with that tyre wear, but only 2 laps between the two. As I say, we've got another Riley Curtis design team, Vice Racing, fighting Tristan Yellen as well. Those two are having a fantastic battle. Chris Purnell and Matt Morris at the moment, they're still relatively... They're not too close to each other. 6 seconds.
6 seconds apart, Carl.
Yeah, they're sort of not really catching on either of them. So that fight is really not looking like it's going to happen. Meanwhile, we've got Wayne Taylor and James Robbie. James Robbie's just pulling out that speed and not letting Wayne Taylor get to the back of the car. As James Robbie just makes a small mistake. Of course, the curse of the commentator as you start talking about somebody. Just going through turn 5, the car just started sliding underneath him, but he's still keeping the car in position. Oh, he's gone off. James Robbie's just gone off and has given Wayne Taylor a drive as they go up through turn number 6 to turn number 7. Wayne Taylor has just got better drive on James Robbie. He made a mistake. It does look like James Robbie's managing to keep the position here, but Wayne Taylor has definitely got some more grip on those tyres.
Yeah, he does, and this battle between these two drivers is going to go right down to the final lap of this race as Matt Danson and Matt Morris. That battle probably won't go down to the last lap. It's 12-second lead for Danson. Morris is lapping quicker than him, but we're way too far back to make a move, as Riley Curtis is still in behind Norman Clark as well for P13. And we'll see whether Curtis can... Nope, Curtis is going to get sideways. He's going to lock it down on the brakes. He's going to stop himself from going to the wall, but Curtis, the commentator, strikes again, and Curtis loses all of that.
Yeah, a real shame there.
Margin to Norman Clark.
Yeah, a real shame there for Riley Curtis. That was a big moment there, and that's lost him a lot of time. So it does look like Robbie and Taylor is pretty much the fight for now. Tristan Koch and Matt Hunter have just started to fall apart. It does look... Tristan Yelland and Matt Hunter. Again, too many Tristans in the race. Those two are still fighting well with each other. They're still very close. But it does look like Hunter has actually just fallen off a little bit of Yelland's pace. Yelland does look to have that little bit more grip on the car, just a little bit more drivability at the moment. So in the lead of the race, we have Matt Danson, who is doing a fantastic job here. He's still lapping relatively fast. He's not pushing too hard though. He knows he can ease up a little bit. His lap times are a little bit slower than the guy behind him, Matt Morris. But Matt Morris, of course, does have 9 seconds to gain on Matt Danson, and with only 2.5 laps to go, I don't think he's going to do it.
No, it's not looking likely for Matt Morris. I think he'll be sat in that car absolutely praying that Matt Danson makes a mistake, but Danson's a very experienced racer, and I don't think it's that likely that anything will happen.
No, he's just, as I say, again, he's racing for the championship right now. He's not going to want to push too hard. There's nothing he can do, though. Matt Danson is doing all he can to win this championship right now. He's just got to rely on Jason Martin, who has awful drive through the turn number 5, completely sideways. He just he almost locked the wheels. Looked like he was driving. Looked like Grandma was driving the car there through the corner. Incredibly slow. One of the slowest sort of spins I've seen.
Riley Curtis and Norman Clark are both off the track of the kink, but Curtis gets a better run through the grass of the kink, and he's going to get right up to the back of Norman Clark again. Hopefully he cannot have a big slide coming out of turn number 12 here. Norman Clark does have a big slide going through turn 12, and Curtis has to check up to not get into the rear of that car. He's going to try and look up the inside of turn 13. Is he? No. He's going to try and set up a run into turn 14 as Norman Clark goes all defensive on him. And now it's going to be to the outside goes Riley Curtis through turn 14. Maybe try the crossover move, as in behind them is actually Michael Skurlock, who's a lap up on these guys. He's going to be watching, hoping they don't make any contact as Curtis gets through on the inside of Norman Clark, and Skurlock will follow him through and slot in between the pair of them. And good move there from Riley Curtis.
And as we look back, James Robbie and Wayne Taylor are battling again. Wayne Taylor has actually just got ahead of Robbie. James Robbie looks like he made a bit of a mistake, and that's given Wayne Taylor a position up to 5th place for Wayne Taylor. Fantastic driving there. The battle continues between Robbie and Taylor. So it does look like Norman Clark is sort of losing a bit of speed. Those tyres just seem to be dropping off the wall for him. Norman Clark is on pretty much the oldest set of tyres in the race. The only person with tyres older than him are James Robbie, Jason Martin, and Wayne Taylor. So those guys are really sort of starting to struggle a bit. Those tyres are falling off the cliff, but they're still fighting hard. And Wayne Taylor and James Robbie are really battling for position now. As Wayne Taylor makes a big mistake going into turn 5. He's sideways. It's giving James Robbie a bit of a drive. Up the inside he goes for turn number 6. And he goes into turn number 6. Nice job for Wayne Taylor. He recovers the car. James Robbie makes a little bit of a mistake behind him. Makes a big slide. Big tank slapper for him. Driving the car through the corner. He had full opposite lock as he was going through there.
That was a good recovery from James Robbie. A little mistake coming out of the exit of turn number 6. Almost compounded itself into a big spin through turn number 7, but he was able to recover from it. But he has lost a bit of time out of Wayne Taylor, and with just a lap to go in this race, I don't know if he's going to be able to complete the move as Matt Danson begins the final lap of the final race of Season 1 for 2019 of Thursday Night Thunder Series.
Yeah, so the 131 WebRadio Thursday Night Thunder Series has come to a close. It's been a fantastic season for these guys. Matt Danson will be possibly taking his 3rd win here. I won't curse him, because no doubt if I do, there'll be a giant cat that runs on the track, knocks his car off, and then he'll start blaming me.
Riley Curtis just made a mistake, and Norman Clark's going to get back in front of him after all of that good work from Curtis, and Clark's going to retake P number 13. They're still on lap 43 of this race, as they're going to be getting lap 44 now as they go down the main straight. We'll just watch these guys through turn number 1 and see if Curtis can make a move back on Norman Clark, and if not, we'll jump back to Matt Danson, the lead of this race, as Curtis is going to sit in behind him. He's going to close up under braking, but he's not going to be close enough, is he? He gets a bit of a tighter line than Norman Clark through turn 1, and a bit of a sideways action coming out of turn number 1. He's going to show the nose for turn 2, but he's not going to be able to make the move. Bit more sideways action from Curtis, gives a bit of a shot to the back of Norman Clark, but no move there for Riley Curtis, and back to Matt Danson out front. He's going through the carousel for the final time today.
Yeah, great drive by Danson tonight, and he's done all he can to try and win this championship tonight. He has done all he could do. He had to win this race and sort of get all the bonus points, but he had to pray that Jason Martin didn't finish in the top 10, and Jason Martin is currently sitting in 7th position. So it's all going well for him at the moment. It looks like Mako Dornak has actually had a problem out on the track, because he's lost a heap of positions. Matthew Klurt's just got through, so Mako Dornak's dropped down to 10th place. So not going well for him. But as we talk, Matt Danson coming around for a fantastic victory. He's driven incredibly well all race long. That fantastic battle between the Matt Morris and Matt Danson earlier in the race. Matt Danson kept the car on the track, kept everything clean. He may have got a little bit of damage earlier on in the race, but a fantastic drive for Danson as he comes up the hill towards the finish line, crosses the finish line, and that's Matt Danson for his 3rd victory in the 131 Web Radio Thursday Night Thunder Championship.
Yeah, it's a well-driven race for Matt Danson. He capitalised on mistakes with Matt Morris and was able to take the win. He didn't have the fastest car out there tonight, but that isn't always the key to winning. He drove well and he drove clean and he won this race. And Matt Morris now going to come across the line with a bit of a battered car for second place. Chris Purnell's made a mistake and he's had a spin, and Michael Skerlock's going to take third place away from him on the final lap of this race. That is a huge mistake for Chris Purnell. He was sideways, he was facing the wrong way coming out of turn number 12, and Skerlock is going to take third place as they come out of turn 14. Purnell will be absolutely kicking himself over that one.
Yeah, Purnell was not going to be happy with that. An absolute disaster there. Going round just giving Skerlock that third place. And, yeah, Purnell was not too happy at all with that, I think. As James Robbie and Wayne Taylor come across the line, Wayne Taylor manages to take a position over James Taylor. Just a bit further back, we had the battle between Riley Curtis and Norman Clark. Norman Clark is still ahead of Riley Curtis. Riley Curtis has got through. Norman Clark is behind Riley Curtis.
But coming down the main straight, and confirming what we've known for a few laps now, it's going to be Jason Martin that crosses the line in P number 7, and he will win Season 1 of the Thursday Night Thunder Series, brought to you by 1 on WebRadio, with a fantastically driven season. He's dominated almost the entire season long. He's going to win in the end by about 8 points over Matt Danson.
Yeah, fantastic drive for Jason Martin. He knew he didn't have the pace tonight. He knew he had to finish in that top 10, and that's what he did. 7th place is perfect for him. That's where he needed to be, and that's what the championship is for him. What a great year for Jason Martin. He absolutely dominated the series, really. Had 5 wins out of the last 10 races. What fantastic driving for him. He's just a pretty dominant season for him, really. And he's really put the hours in and just really managed to get those victories and get the championship win. So Jason Martin is currently our Cup Championship winner from last year, and now he is the Thunder Championship winner for this year. Fantastic couple of years for Jason Martin.
Yep, it's been a good race, and we'll just run through the results for you as you watch Matt Danson. No doubt he'll do some burnouts here on the main straight, and it was Danson that won the race from Matt Morris, Michael Skerlock in third, and then Chris Purnell. A huge mistake on the last lap drops into 4th place. Wayne Taylor was able to win out in that battle with James Robbie to take 5th place away. And James Robbie in 6th, Jason Martin, the championship winner, P number 7. Andrew Mogridge in his debut in the ANZCAR competition, well-driven race to take P number 8. Matty Clute will take P9, and I think he'll be 1 point short of the championship, so I'm cheering about that one. Mirko Dornak in P10, and it was Matty Raymond in P11 and Stephen Williams in P12, so I think it'll be Stephen Williams who now takes P4 in the championship. Matty Raymond should be 5th. And of course, maybe myself in P6 and Clute in P7 will get confirmation on that later on for you. Norman Clark was 13th and Riley Curtis 14th. We saw them battling hard for the last few laps of that race, and it was Clark that came out in front. Tristan Yelland won out in his battle over Matt Hunter to take P15, and Hunter in 16th. Tristan Koch had a very lonely race tonight. He comes home in 17th place. And then our retirements from the race, Stephen Stockton in 18th, Michael Ladder in 19th, and Richmond rounded out the starters in P20, and of course those non-starters are Stratford, Allen and Johansson.
Yeah, what a fantastic race we had as well. Again, we were a little bit sceptical about this race, a little bit worried that it wouldn't be the greatest race in the world, but we were rewarded with some fantastic drives out there, some fantastic battles as well. We had battling all race long, up until the very end, in fact. What a fantastic race. That's all I've got to say, really, Ryan. What did you think of that one?
Yeah, it was certainly a fantastic race, and we saw battles right throughout the field. We saw a fantastic battle for the lead for the majority of that race until a huge error from Matt Morris really cost him a chance of that win. And we saw a great battle between James Robbie and Wayne Taylor for P5 for most of that race as well. And all in all, fantastic racing from everyone on a track that seemed very difficult to drive.
Absolutely. It looked a bit of a terrible track out there, and it was very hot out there as well on surface, so not doing wonders for tyre life. What we might do is just grab our champion, Jason Martin, up into the green room. Up into the broadcast booth. Sorry, my brain's just gone dead there. So we'll just grab...
mate.
Yeah, Jason Martin, Carl Withy here for Performance E-Streaming for the 131 Web Radio Thursday Night Thunder Series. Congratulations on a championship win.
Oh, man, what a nightmare. Everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Yeah, we did see a few things happen, and we did see the strike, sort of the return of the curse of the pit stop hit you as well.
Oh, man, how bad was that? 1 minute it's telling me too far right, next minute too far left, too far back. must have lost about 20 seconds.
Yeah, you lost. I think it was around 30 seconds from what I remember. So it was a very. It was one of those pit stops that had our hearts sink because we thought, well, that's going to be very bad for you. But you've managed to fight your way back up. You managed to finish in 7th place overall for this race. But another championship under your belt. How do you feel?
I'm happy about that. I was pretty sure I just had to finish inside the top 10, but geez, that was hard work and an absolute nightmare.
Now, we have seen that you have been working on your road racing this year. That has shown because you've done some really good performances. How did you feel in this track? Did you feel more comfortable with this race?
Yeah, I felt pretty confident. I did a little bit of practice and I think I had top 5 speed, but I ended up having the default setup loaded for the race, which meant I had no brakes and it didn't turn properly, so that just added to my nightmares.
Yeah, it looks a bit of a handful out there. Were you finding that with that heat on the track as well? It was a very hot track tonight. Were you finding that that was hurt and grip a lot for you?
No, I was ready for that. I practiced in pretty much that temperature.
Practice makes perfect, as they say, and well, it's almost been a pretty perfect season for you. 5 wins over the course of 11 races, a championship title again. What's your secret?
No secret really. I got no idea. Just stay consistent and go try and get as many top 3s as possible.
He drives fast. He drives really fast, Carl. That's a secret.
Yeah, that's it. You're always a hard man to beat, and like qualifying as well, he's very good at qualifying. So, Ryan, do you have anything you wanted to ask the champion, Jason Martin?
No, I think you've pretty much covered it all, and congratulations, Jason. You certainly drove a very good season, and hopefully we can see you continue that dominance maybe in the Cup Series, maybe bag yourself two championships for this year.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you so much.
Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Jason?
Got to thank the boys at Mitch Motorsports. Without them, I probably wouldn't do as much practice as I have been doing. Got to thank BK Designs for sponsoring us. Got to thank ANZCAR for putting on a wonderful league. And of course, you guys for putting on a great broadcast for us all to watch and enjoy.
Thank you so much, Jason. Jason Martin, the champion there. We will see you again for next season.
Woohoo!
What a fantastic drive for Jason there. Jason is not too excitable, but he sounded pretty happy with that one.
One thing I've learned with Jason is he's not the most emotional man, but I'd say he's probably absolutely thrilled with that race and that result, and good on him because he drove really well. But Matt Danson's in the green room now, and he did win the race, so I'll drag Matt Danson up here, and we'll see what he's up to. Matt Danson, Ryan Jones up in the combox with Performance East Streaming. Congratulations, mate. You won the race. You've come up just short on the championship, but you drove well today.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I was keeping tabs on old mate just to see where he was running. Obviously, my main focus was just on trying to win, but yeah, I think probably six points or so short in the end.
Yeah, I think that we think the gap is about 8 points between you and Jason Martin. What were your thoughts on that race-long battle almost with Matt Morris? It certainly looks like it's tough out there for you guys.
Yeah, it's not one of my proudest races, I'd say. I was just falling off the track every other lap. It felt like for a while. I had only really done hot laps in practice, so I didn't realize how bad the fall off was after sort of 4 or 5 laps until that first run. So I was originally just thinking I'd be able to just put a bit of a gap, and I knew Matt was fast, but then all of a sudden, despite my best efforts, I was outbraking myself everywhere, and so then from there it just became a strategy of just trying to pace myself. I'd let him pull a bit of a lead, and just with the confidence that I'd be able to grab him at the end of the stint.
Yeah, well, we certainly saw on that second stint after that first pit stop, and we weren't really able to see it after that second stop. Certainly after that first stop, that Matt Morris definitely had the pace early on in the run, but you were able to really reel him back in towards the end, right before the pit stops. Was that a game plan for you? Were you saving your tyres early on in the run, or was it simply a case of you're just naturally better on your tyres than Matt Morris, I guess, tonight?
I mean, I'd like to think I'm pretty good on my tyres as standard, but I made a point of not working them, early in the run, because I knew he was pushing hard, like he was getting everything he could after that first run. So, definitely the second one, obviously we got to go all the way to the end of it and sort of see. I mean, I pulled in a couple of seconds. I didn't help myself by running off the track at one point. Just I fell asleep a little bit. But in the last run, it had just started to level out. And I think the lap or two before he went off, I'd started again. It's like that pendulum had swung a little bit again. So I was confident I would get him, but it certainly helped that he dropped it.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate error from Matt Moss. Would have loved to see you guys battle out right to that last lap, but all in all, it was a fantastic race between you two, and you did enough. You did enough to win the race, and unfortunately, as I said, just short the championship. But still, second place. You can't complain about that. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Jason. It was a good good championship. I thought we were only halfway through the championship. To be honest with you, I was just pacing myself, and then found out 2 weeks ago that we only had one or two races left at the time. So don't know what happened there, but shout out to you guys, Performance E Streaming, ANZCAR putting on a league. Obviously, without you guys, everyone running the league, we wouldn't be able to do it. Shout out to Silton and Crowder and all the boys there. Vegan Food Melbourne, check them out on Instagram. All my supporters, the dancers, thank you for your support as always. And all the competitors. I mean, to be fair, this with the lap cars and that, everyone gave heaps of room. Sounded like there was some really good battles, so I'm going to watch the stream afterwards.
Well, congratulations, mate. Another well-fought race win for you. We'll let you get back and celebrate.
Thanks, boys.
That was Matt Danson, your race winner tonight.
Yeah, only Matt Danson can win a race half asleep. It's a bit scary when you hear that. He was just falling asleep during a race. When you're putting on that much a show and racing so hard, some of these boys have got a lot of talent. It makes some of us old ones feel a little bit sort of wary of them.
Who do you want to talk to, guys? I have one more driver. Carl, do you want to talk to Chris Purnell? He was third for most of that race.
Yeah, I was just looking up there. We've got Chris Purnell or Michael Skurlock to talk to.
Although we sort of blew off Skurlock last race, didn't we?
We did, yes. I think maybe Skurlock down. He had a fantastic race, so we'll just grab him in for a
You know what, Carl? Let's get both of them up here, okay? Let's get both of the Illusion boys up. Chris Purnell and Michael Skurlock. Hello.
Yay! I'm in. I'm back.
We decided we'd let you in, but only with Chris Purnell's supervision.
Yeah, that's all right.
I did weasel my way in at the end there.
I did give it to him.
So what happened at the end of the race there, Chris?
So I had brake pedal issues from probably about lap 30 onwards, and it was like locking everywhere, and it hooked on at like 20%, and I just couldn't get the pedal to unload. So I was like sliding through the corners out of control and just couldn't do anything. So I overcorrected and sent it.
Well, overall, you didn't do too badly if you're having those issues. For most of that race, you were only about 15, 17 seconds off the lead. So a good race for you with those brake pedal issues.
Rub it in, Carl.
It's all right, Michael. You did well. You still finished second, and that's the main thing. But Scott, what happened to you? Because we saw some damage on your car as well.
Oh, yeah, just forgot to turn on out of the carousel that fast right-hander. Just, I don't know, I just mind blank and just went through it flat out. Didn't turn, smacked the wall. But because I hit the wall sort of straight, kept the wheels straight, it didn't seem to do much to it, Like it was all right.
Well, that's good. Good to hear it didn't do too much, because we were watching you guys and you were pretty close together at the start of the race, which was a good little battle going on. A pretty good race for Illusion all in all.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with it. We didn't really do too much practice leading up to this, to be honest. It was a bit of a last-minute throw together. But, guys will race really well. Mirko had pace as well. Steve was pretty quick in practice. He tried to go a little bit of a different way with his fuel numbers, and it didn't pay off for him. But, yeah, that's racing sometimes. Yeah,
we did see that interesting strategy for Stephen, and it did look a little bit troublesome actually doing that one. But Michael Skurlock, third in championship. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Carl. It's you know what I mean. It wasn't very close though. Just a distant third. So I can't say I'm super happy with it, but I rocked up every week. That makes a big difference.
It does, and at least you finished ahead of that Ryan Jones bloke. So that's the main thing to be happy about.
He's better in there, I think. Better in the booth here.
What? Because I can't finish ahead of you on the track? Is that it, Skerlock?
No, but if you had raced the last two, at least we could have had a fight,
Yeah, I was gonna race tonight, and then Edward and Danny were like, "I can't compensate," and I got coerced into joining Carl because no one wants to listen to just Carl talking for an entire race, do they?
No, that's fair enough, bud.
I love it. No, I was going to say, you did well anyway, Ryan. You definitely improved a lot, man, this season. And next season, you're going to be a threat for sure.
If I race, we'll see.
I think you might have a full-time commentary.
Yeah, the big question now for you two, obviously, and Ryan, we'll ask in a while, but what are your plans for next season? Are you looking to try and go for the championship win next season, try and improve your positions? Do you have any plans coming forward?
So for me personally, I'm quite happy to sort of take a bit of a backseat. My availability is dropping a little bit. I've got some other stuff on the cards in the background. So I'm more a filling guy and helping the other boys when they need it more than anything for me.
And for me, I could say that I'm going to go for the championship, but I don't see what I'm going to do in the few weeks off to suddenly make up 27 seconds or whatever it was. So,
well, you just have to win more often. That's it. It's not that hard.
I started off the season well.
You make it sound easy.
2 wins, mate. Atlanta, bring that every week.
That's it. We last season we had a really good year. We won a heap of races between the team and it went really well. And this year we just haven't. We've been there, but we've had pace everywhere. We just haven't been able to convert.
Yeah, things have changed a lot with the new cars, things like that, and it has been a very different season for a lot of people. I guess really now it's just, do you have any shout-outs?
Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to everybody in Illusion Motorsport, the guys at ANZCAR for putting on a good series, and you guys up at Performance.
Yeah, of course, you boys, and the rest of ANZCAR. Shout out to Jason, good season, and Matt Danson for surprising me on these 2 road courses.
Keeping us in check.
The other Matt Morris too for coming out and flogging it too, mate. Because I was surprised about that. I didn't think we were going to get beaten by that much.
I mean, you're going to have to practice harder for next season.
There's too many things to do, mate. Practice everything all the time.
Well, we've got to wrap it up, fellas. Sorry to catch you off.
Yeah, well, I have to make up for all the times I don't get brought in here.
Well, we'll make up for it next season. Marcus Scott, Chris Pennell, Illusion Motorsports. Good race today, fellas. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
For the Illusion boys there. Fantastic job by them. They've had a decent season. Good race for Skerlock and Purnell. They did pretty well. Really closing thoughts on this season and this race, Ryan.
Fantastic season. Championship battle went right down to the wire. Only 8 points in it in the end, and good battles all the way up and down the race, all the way up and down the field for that race and for the championship. So it was certainly an interesting one, and hopefully we see more of the same next season in the Thunder Series. So it starts in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, so looking forward to next season starting up, and hopefully we'll see you back in the car again, because it's good to see you out on track. As much as I love the commentary, co-commentary work, it's very handy having you up here. But yeah, that's really it for the season. Congratulations to Jason Martin, of course, taking the championship out. We'll be back with Thunder again shortly. Of course, next week we've got the Cup race, so the Cup's still going on. You'll catch myself and Ryan in that one. So a big thank you for Dave Douglas as well for doing the camera work tonight. Fantastic job as always. For myself, Carl Withy, and for Ryan Jones, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time for 131 Web Radio Thunder.